Really?
I wanted to swing castle.
You wanted to do what?
I wanted to swing castle a couple more courses.
What does swing castle mean?
I wanted to swing it a little more.
Oh, I see.
2 more courses.
Oh, when they wouldn't let you because
No.
of, well, time
Too much
flies
time, yeah. This
by
television
so.
is a mess when it comes to time, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it a mess?
See, we were swinging pretty good, and they cut us off, huh?
I think you can probably start up your swinging again, though, at some point before we're through.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we're going to get our money's worth out
I
of it.
want to lay it on them before I go.
Lay it on him.
Yeah.
Alberto, last time we were here, you talked about a legendary place that you played, I think it was in Chicago, called Dreamland.
Yes.
And research uncovers the fact that you made $17.50. Now, that's not a living wage even
Well, the
then.
first time was $10.
$10.
Then they raised me to $12.50.
But there was another way of making money, wasn't there?
Yeah, you know what I used to do? Yeah. I
With
used
the
to
way
make
you
the
winked
tips.
at me, I'm afraid to
Yeah,
ask.
yeah. No, the tips, they give us tips, you know.
Yeah.
And I had a little bargain with the waiters. And every time somebody give me a tip, I'd put it in my hand. When I'd start, go to the other table, I'd drop it down in my bosom and let it fall. And then another thing I used to do, if they wanted, the people wanted to hear what I was singing at the next table, see, I'd sing softly. And if the people at the next table would want to hear I was doing, they'd have to call me over and give me a tip. So each table I'd go to, I'd get a tip, you see.
I see, you'd sing softly, and then if you saw a bill waving... it
Didn't
meant
have to wave it. All they had to do
Just
was look
hold-
over, and I
just
figured
look.
they wanted me to come. And I'd go get
Well,
that tip.
Is it too personal to ask how much you could make on a night like that in those days, with on a good night?
Well, you want me to tell you the truth?
I mean,
Sometimes I made as high as $100. Those days.
that was a...
Because
big-
you know what? Because in Chicago, the most of the people that hung out there in Chicago in the Dreamland were people of the gamblers
Yeah.
and the pimps and the prostitutes, and they all had a lot of money.
They had a flash
And they
roll
were,
with
and
them.
they were crazy about a song called Melancholy Baby. And I used to sing it. I knew the ones that liked Melancholy Baby the best.
You mean it really is true that people yell, "Sing Melancholy Baby"?
Yes. Melancholy Baby, and I'd lay it on them. I'd sing Melancholy Baby for them, you know. And I could see the ones that were anxious, you know, wanted Melancholy Baby. When I was singing to you, for instance, I'd be looking out the corner of my eye to see who else wanted it.
Well, Alberta, what's the story about you and Sophie Tucker, the great white comedian, entertainer, for our younger viewers who may not know who Sophie Tucker was?
Yeah.
There's a story where she wanted "A Good Man Is Hard to Find." She wanted to do it the way you did it.
Yes.
Can you tell what that means and what that was about?
Well, she used to come in the club where I was working. She was a great singer, though. Sophie
Yeah,
Tucker
apparently.
was marvelous. She was marvelous. She came nearer singing like a colored woman than the rest of them. You know, I mean, she was fine. So she used to come in the club pretending she was just coming to see me, but she was coming to trying to steal my tricks, you know, to see what I was doing. So she, several times she asked me to come down to the Palace. She was playing at the Palace because she played the big time all the time.
Yeah.
And I never would go. So she sent her maid, Belle, that was her maid, to send me a note back, come on down and have lunch with her and everything. Well, I wasn't hungry at the time, so I didn't go.
You really didn't want her to have your song.
No, I didn't want her to
because that
have.
was your...
No, what's the use of me getting together writing a song for somebody else to do?
That's right.
No, so I wouldn't give her my song. And in later years, I learned why it was good that I didn't. You know, sure, because why should she learn my way? But she never would have sung it like I sing it, because we have certain little tricks we do in those songs that nobody's going to catch on. Because if I sing it one way now, I'll sing it another way the next time. That's what I did to her.
Well, but... So you foiled her finally.
Yeah.
Really.
Sure.
If she was as good as you say, though, could she have been the first Jewish blues singer, do you think?
I don't know, but she was a whopping good one. Sophie Tucker could sing a song.
But you maintain rightly, I'm sure, that not everybody can sing the blues. You can't just decide to
Sophie
major...
Tucker, as good as she was, would never sing the blues like a Negro. And that's not boasting. You see, Sophie Tucker hasn't suffered like we've suffered.
Yeah.
And when we sing the blues, our heart is coming to you.
Yeah. And that makes the difference.
Yes.
You can't teach that.
Can't teach it.
Yeah. Alberta, tell me about this. You left your husband, but not for the usual reason. You seem to still be enjoying having left him. But it was not for what you think. It isn't that he was a bad man and
No.
treated you badly and so on.
No, none of them going to treat me bad, honey. I'm too strict for that.
Uh-huh.
No, nobody's going to treat me bad.
I wouldn't see why anyone would want to, but
Well, yes, they'll try.
they'll try.
All you got to do is have nerve enough to let them know they won't do it.
Mm-hmm.
That you will not let them do it. You will not permit them to do it.
Well, what I heard was that you left him for the unheard of reason of so that he could find a better woman.
That's right. You
That
know,
bears explaining.
well, I'll tell you what. My husband was a very intelligent young man, and I could see the making of a very nice young man, and he needed a wife that would give him attention. It would be selfish of me. It would have been selfish of me to have stayed with him and not given him the nice things that he deserved. So you know what I did? While I was working at Dreamland, I'd be singing at night, and my mind would be working. I'd say, well, I'm going to get together tonight. So I'd be putting my tips in a little bag, and I'd go down the next morning and to the immigration place, and I was getting my passport ready. So one night when my husband thought I was going home, I was on my way down to the pier. So I went to Europe. He didn't know where I was.
He decided Europe would be the last place he'd look for you, I guess.
Last place he could get there right then.
You didn't leave a note or anything?
No,
No.
absolutely nothing. You know why? Because maybe had I left a note, he would have known where to have found me, and he would have come. And he's a nice young man.
And
he deserved a good wife.
This was not in the last few years. This was,
Oh, that was when I was young.
well, you're still younger than springtime.
Well, thank you very much.
Say, there's an idea for a song.
Yeah.
But did you continue to be friends later? I mean,
Oh, yes.
You never
we were friends. We were friends until he died about 4 years ago.
Oh, that's...
And you know what he did? He went to school, went to Canada. He got 2 or 3 degrees, and he was a young man that organized the porters, not the porters, but the
Pullman car.
the red caps.
Red caps.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it made a man of him. And I received a beautiful letter from him saying that he didn't want to infringe on my popularity, because at that time when I heard from him, he wrote and said that he didn't want to infringe on my popularity. Yeah. But while perusing through the newspapers, he saw that I was such a big success in London. I was in Showboat then. And it was just a letter of appreciation and congratulations to the woman who had won. See? I made a man of him. Suppose I'd have let him hang around there, because the fellas around there, you see most of the pimps and all, they told him, why should you work when she's making a lot of money? I didn't want that
They
job.
were working on him that way.
Yeah, go train him, you know.
Yeah.
Never happened.
When you were in Europe, was that when you were with Paul Robeson?
Yeah. In Showboat.
Did he say Robeson or Robeson?
Robeson. He always said
two
Robeson.
syllables.
A lot of people say Robeson, but he said Robeson.
Yeah, I was reading something Dizzy Gillespie wrote about as a young man. He went to a huge theater where Robeson was performing in a play, I guess. And he said that even though Dizzy Gillespie was sitting so far back that Robeson appeared to be no bigger than a cigar from his seat.
Yes.
It was as if his voice were right beside him.
Bell. It rang just like a bell in the distance.
And there was no microphone.
No, we didn't have microphones.
No.
What do we know about a microphone? Even when I was entertaining the soldiers in World War II, I didn't have a microphone.
Even then?
Even then.
Tell about that. Were you in the front lines? You were telling me backstage about jumping into a trench.
Yeah,
so apparently
wasn't deep enough, and I got in another one. 52 days on the front line. I was the only woman. They let me go. They told me in the beginning, you say, you go at your own risk. If you go, no responsibility where we're concerned. So I wanted to go. I've always had plenty of nerve. So I went on with the 17 men that were in the group, you know. And they took us over to Eniwitaka. It's just a little place, like if you have one foot in Japan and you put the other foot, you're in Russia. So they put me over on a Quonset hut in this little place in Eniwitaka, you know. And while I was there, we can't think of the name of that runway anyhow.
Yeah, was anybody here in World War II could think the name of that stuff they rolled out?
so if the
cameramen
vehicles
or anyone that
could roll over, you know?
For the Jeeps, the track they'd roll out.
Because the mud would be so deep, you know, the
Trying to think
cars
of the
would
word
sink.
for that.
What is the word for that roadway? Anyhow,
Any veterans?
no, but anyhow.
But,
So, what was I telling you about the...
well, you tell me about, you said you had jumped in a trench.
Oh, yes.
And you were the only woman among all these men.
Yes, the men were gone. They was flying, and I'm flying right along with them. But when I got in the trench, it wasn't deep enough. So what's the use of being in the trench if it isn't deep enough? So I got out of that one and got in another one.
Would that be a good song, This Trench Ain't Deep Enough?
Yeah, I'll make one.
There are, you know, Albert, I always have the feeling that there are certain words in a lot of blues songs and Dixieland songs and things that have double meanings that still today a lot of white folks don't really know what the words mean. Because I hear laughter from the black people in the audience.
Sure.
But
You should have been at the club last night.
What
There was a
happened?
fellow there, he knew everything I was saying, didn't he, Gerald? Yeah, we were saying a little double entendre, you know.
What would be an example of one?
Well, you say, plenty good tunes left in an old violin.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
That refers to...
Yeah, man's kind of old and very thin, but there are plenty good tunes left in an old violin.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Get that?
Yeah, I'm working on it. I think I'm halfway there.
Then let me see, what's another one? You can go, what's the one in Rough and Ready, Gerald? Oh,
Rough and Ready.
he can be knock-kneed, box ankle, and even have frog eyes. But that will make a bit of difference if he's okay otherwise.
Now, there's nothing wrong with that. That's very refined.
You know, I sang that at the Collegiate Church Sunday.
You did?
Yes, I did. At the Collegiate Church.
You sang it at the church.
I certainly did. It was packed.
Yeah.
Church was Sunday, past Monday.
Yeah.
I sang all that. Sang Good Man's Hard to Find and whop him over the head with a few bricks.
Where does that song come from?
Good Man's Hard to Find.
I have an old record of someone most people don't know, Lizzie Miles.
Yeah, New Orleans.
Who was Lizzie Miles?
Lizzie Miles was a great big Creole woman. She was from New Orleans. She was from New
Creole
Orleans.
woman.
She came and worked at Dreamland with me for a few months.
I've never found out
But you know
anybody...
who wrote that song? I think Maceo Pinker wrote that song.
Don't know.
I think so.
Well, that explains something about Lizzie Miles.
But he didn't put those, I put my punches in myself.
Yeah.
His punches were too tame. They didn't say anything.
I've never heard you sing that song. One
Yeah.
day you must do it for
I'll
me.
sing it for you.
Yeah, because that's a great one.
Yeah, I'll put some
There's an-
punches in it.
Okay. And will you signal when the punches are so I'll know? I don't want to miss them.
Yeah.
I don't want to...
Okay. What about Rough and Ready sometime?
Rough and Ready. Okay. Is
Yeah.
that
Oh, that's
Rough
a
and
killer.
Ready?
I got some real stuff in there. And another one, Old Fashioned Blues. Oh, I've got some lines in the Old Fashioned Blues are a mess.
A mess is a term of
It means it's a knockout. You
A
know?
knockout, yeah, you
Everybody
use
knows
it-
what a knockout is.
yeah. What does the expression "Tack Annie" mean? I know.
Tack
I did
Annie was a
show-
woman.
Well, I did a show with the Copacetics, a black tap dancing group, and they I'm a member of that now, by
Yeah.
the way. And there's a step called Tack Annie. But who is Tack Annie?
Tack Annie, you see, when I worked at Hugh Hoskins in Chicago, this was a little place where all the Dago Franks was where all the white pimps and the white prostitutes hung out.
Dago Franks.
Dago Frank. Like you see D-A-G or Dago, like they used to, in old times they called an Italian Dago, which is, you know, an expression like they call us different things. Well, anyhow, you know. So anyhow, Dago Franks was where the white pimps and the white prostitutes hung.
Yeah.
Hugh Hoskins was a place where the colored confidence men and their women were pickpockets. Now that's where Tack Annie was. She was a pickpocket.
She was.
And the greatest that ever lived. She could walk up to a man, and if he had a diamond stud in his pocket and his tie or anything, she'd go, "How?" and bite it off. She had a little something. You don't know what used to go on. You youngsters don't know
No, I
nothing.
don't. I want to know more about it. However...
screaming, get up. Tired, young. Come out here hustling to better us. Boy, you better get your ass up. Go to school. And skip school. She's a fool. I used to think I'd take that 5 and go get dank. Right before I sneak a drink, I'll be out the door. And left mom's a nice fat bank roll in the dresser drawer. Shh, let me count my dough. 1, 2, 4. Like she didn't know. Was young and silly though, cause she knew what I used to do through the hood I climbed. Putting it down, still in motherfucker sound. Smoking quarter pounds with my niggas and bitches I can keep it wild when I'm around. Shh, what's up, what is this shit? I'm getting older now, I know what things supposed to be. The OB 28, you done slid me 25.3. No man, I was just trying to see you on your feet. And see, my cues, fool, don't belong to you, they belong to me. So miss me with that bullshit and give me the full shit. Hell, I know my scale will tell the same story that your scale tell. Well, I'm out my hell. You know, G, nigga. Just because your train of thought derailed, figure you go selling dreams. Coming clean, diamond infested Byzantines and gleam. Every time the light beams, you fiends for that Rolex I just seen. Dreams, having a Lexus Coach edition like I got a team. Means I don't need your help to help me dream. You selling dreams, I'm coming clean. Diamond infested Byzantines and gleam. Every time the light beams, you fiends for that Rolex I just seen. Dreams, having a Lexus Coach edition like I got a team. Means I don't need your help to help me dream. You selling dreams, not happening. Walk me on your rabbit, that's mine. It's too much traffic. Hot, the spots booming, we move a lot. Rocks on blocks. Who would've thought your homies would be nationwide with rap a lot? How did it feel rapping your first knot, touching your first Glock uncocked, and loving the ghetto games? Remember we used to pop to the sky, but now it's a damn shame. Need not explain. It's cocaine. I'm sorry I was part of the plane to get cake. I slain so my family can make the change I had to make. But don't take my word on it. You Hennessy, get your herd on it. Think about it while you hop on the highway and swerve on it. I bet a bird on it easily. See, it's funny how shit be. I got to pay to get it from you, but you wanna get the shit free from me. I keep it low key. Here, hold these, folding whole G's. In the back, if you crap when you roll these, I be folding more G's. Oh my B, spending my money just triple like goldies. Sleep like your eyes, shit got me walk about this MONEY. You selling dreams, coming clean. Diamond infested Byzantines are clean. Every time the light beams, you fiends for that Rolex I just seen. Dreams, having the Lexus Coach edition like I got a team. Means I don't need your help to help me dream. You selling dreams, coming clean. Diamond infested Byzantines are clean. Every time the light beams, you fiends for that Rolex I just seen. Dreams, having a Lexus Coach edition like I got a team. Means I don't need your help to help me dream. You selling dreams. Make sure you never get the best of us. Trust them, what the fuck you got to pass for love? Well, maybe you wanna try to test these nuts. Is you certain you wanna leave hurting, huh, nigga? Whoa. Then I woke up and puffin', shit was all good. Plus, then when I wake up, was dreaming about the hood. All hood, heard birds make actions speak louder than words. Hurry, go serve it, how minutes getting served. Can't visualize, blurred. Look, Flinch, can't you pinch the nerve? Wake up, homie, your lights is on and you parked on the curb. You bird, you sitting here dreaming about some gold D's that the bourbon. The hype hit the box and jump, you woke up and all that shit was gone. Oh, snap, this time I need to get my mind back. I'm not gonna make a meal and relax. Perhaps I'd rather stack some my whole family's living fat. Man, can you kind of protect the hood game, nigga? Fucking with your mainframe, nigga, it's the same game. Been writing for a long time while other niggas' dreams like fiends got swallowed with the wine. Just smoked up rhymes, I treat it like a crime. Why? Cause a nigga that's selling you dreams is a nigga that's selling you dimes. Seasons change, people change, and things get rearranged. Even after simple, call me homie if you got some drama, man. Now some want us to stay away. Hey, what happened to all the love? Want everything that we worked so hard for to get swept up under the rug. You selling dreams, coming clean. Diamond infested Byzantines are gleam. Every time the light beams, you fiends for that Rolex I just seen. Dreams, having a Lexus Coach edition like I got a team. Means I don't need your help to help me dream. You selling dreams, coming clean. Diamond infested Byzantines are gleam. Every time the light beams, you fiends for that Rolex I just seen. Dreams, having a Lexus Coach edition like I got a team. Means I don't need your help to help me dream. You selling dreams.
By putting my trust in God.
Equal, that they are endowed not by their victories or power or feelings or coming together to feel good and impose their will, not by none of these human things, but are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. They acknowledged that there is a power that transcends our power, an intelligence that transcends our intelligence, and an order in consequence of which we exist that depends on that intelligent being and the provisions that have been made by that being for our good. And so that was the origin of the next famous sentence, which talks about a word that we use all the time. Rights. What word? We're going to have the Supreme Court say right to marriage, right to this, right to that. The interesting thing about the word right to me these days is that it's thrown around without any regard for its meaning. Its absolutely obvious meaning. See, people automatically use the word right in one situation I know of. What is the one situation in which they will rightly employ the word right? When they're wronged, of course. Minute you think somebody has wronged you, the minute think an injustice has been done, that you have been unfairly disadvantaged and damaged, that word right, why does it come out of your mouth? It comes out of your mouth because there is a sense that we all of us share, that right is required of us, and that actions that violate and contravene what is right go against us somehow in the very warp and woof of our being, that they expose us to a threat. And what is that threat? Well, I don't think we can understand that threat without going through the logic of the Declaration, which is pretty clear. They start out, by the way, by saying that on account of the fact that they are decent people, they have to declare the reasons that are driving them to a separation from Great Britain that they know is going to cause them and their society terrible problems and destruction. And they say that they have to justify why they have decided to assume among the powers of the earth that station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. Now, what are the laws of nature? Well, I'll tell you one thing they are. They are mostly denied these days. They are denied in our law schools. They are denied in our institutions of education. I feel deeply, tragically sorry for Americans throughout our country now who take for granted the elections and the voting and the choice and the notion that somehow or another they are the ones who get to decide who will sit in the Senate, who will occupy the White House. And yet, they live in a context in which, without their say and many times without even their knowledge or understanding, the premise that allows them to have that role has been discarded by elitist powers bent on destroying them, and especially bent on destroying their liberty and sovereignty as a people. For you see, the notion that people should govern themselves, that they should elect the president, the king, the whatever you call it, who's going to be the executive power, that they should elect the people who make the laws. This was considered to be an outright laughable and insane absurdity throughout almost all of human history until the United States of America proved that laughter wrong. It was considered to be absurd to suggest that people without knowledge, without power, without anything that qualified them to make decisions on behalf of the whole society in which they live should be consulted before the laws were passed. Now, an aside here briefly. You will notice that in the course of that human history, there was very little problem amongst the elitists, as I call them, who were the nobles, the aristocrats, the others who fancied themselves to be somehow the rulers of mankind. They didn't make any problem for God, or the gods as they were called in pagan times. They had no problem acknowledging a divine authority. Know why? Because the premise was pretty well regarded as reasonable and necessary that the gods decided they were in charge. Why am I sitting on this throne? It is ordained by God that I should be here. And that was the general rule. Divine right, it was called. Divine right. What right do you have to make laws for us? I have the right of God's authority. Now, I hope you heard in the words of the Declaration the absolutely fundamental amendment of that little assumption. What did the Declaration say after the famous words, they're endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. See, but over here you have, what does God determine? God doesn't determine that so-and-so sits on the throne. God determines that every human being is instilled by him with a sense of what is right. And that to secure these rights. Have you ever tried to figure out what that word means? Right is an abstraction, you know. You don't put it in a vault. You don't. You can't lock it in a closed room, make sure nobody steals it from you, because it's not a material object. What is the meaning of the word right? See, they say these days with some easy facility, it's freedom, freedom is right. That doesn't make any sense. See? And you'll understand why freedom as a right doesn't make any sense in the simple sense of the term when someone has beaten you over the head to steal your wallet. See? They have the freedom to do it because they're holding a gun, a knife, maybe they're bigger and stronger than you are, and they've battered you to the ground and are standing over you about to rifle your pockets and maybe take your life. Are you going to look up and say, well, since you're free to kill me now, you have the right? How many are going to reach this conclusion? Nobody will reach that conclusion. Don't kill me. That's a wrong thing to do. That's an unjust thing to do. I don't care what power you've got in this moment. You kill me, and you have violated a fundamental premise of all right, all justice, all decency, etc. That's the way we'd feel. What do you want to bet you'd feel that way? And suddenly you'd realize that all the superficial, shallow libertarian arguments in the world will never convince you that freedom by itself constitutes a right. Freedom has to be judged in light of a standard of action, activity. And what is that standard? The founders stated. It is a standard endowed by whom? Endowed by God. That means the substance of what is right. The meaning and definition and understanding of what is just is defined by God, not by human power, not by someone who claims to be your better sitting on the throne, but by God. And that leads him to give to every human being, right, a situation and position where he grants authority to those who are doing what? He grants authority to those who are doing right, for they act by his authority. Do what the sovereign tells you, and you're doing what's according to the laws of nature, the author of nature being the creator, the one who prescribed those laws. And so the whole meaning of the word right is dependent, first on the existence, then on the authority, and finally on the grant or endowment by that being who is the sovereign of all sovereigns. And that grant is not made to this special group of nobles and that special group of aristocrats. It is made to all who share in human nature and are willing to use the freedom that comes to them as part of their natural condition to do what is right. Use that freedom to do what is right, and you walk a path that is marked out, prescribed by God, and no one has the right if they knock you off of it. See? And that gives rise to the next part of the whole understanding. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. Governments are instituted to secure, make safe, get you to hold on without any interference or disruption to the path that you walk because you have chosen to accept the determination of God for what? Well, I'm not going to go into all the philosophical thises and that's, but it's very simple. So, what's the term nature, as in natural right? What does it refer to? Well, it essentially, quite simply, refers to the way you're made, to be what you are. So, you're made by God to be what you are. Insofar as that distinguishes you from every other object and existing thing, that's your nature. But what is then the nature of that nature? What is the characteristics of that nature? Well, to put it very simply, whatever distinguishes you from what you're not. Right? You have a certain look about you. You have certain activities that you are both capable of, and some of which are required if you're to go on existing in the form that God has given you, like eating and drinking, for instance, not jumping off of cliffs and things. Things like that it's probably best to do, because otherwise you're going to mess up the form God gave you, and it will cease, you will cease, to exist in that form. Yes? So respect for human nature requires that you stay within what? Within the rules that have allowed your way of being to be defined, delimited, All words meaning outline the boundaries of, explore where you end and something else begins, and stop there so that you go on existing as what you are. I wish people would think this through, see, because laws aren't impositions on you. How can it be an imposition on you to define what you are so that you can exist? You wouldn't be here without that definition. You wouldn't be here without those limits. You wouldn't be here without those determinations of God that make it possible, out of all the possible things in the universe, that something that is like you, a human being, should exist.
Put my trust in God and just go on about my business.
From the Indians, welcome to pilgrims, and to the buffalo that once ruled the plain. Like the vultures, they're circling beneath the dark clouds, looking for the rain. Yes, they've been looking for the rain. Just like the city, the stagger on the coastline, living in a nation that just can't take much more. Like the forest, they buried beneath the highway, never had a chance to grow old. Well, they never had a chance to grow old. And now it's winter. It seems like winter in America. It's a time when all of the healers done been killed and been betrayed. Yeah, even though it's something wrong, everybody ought to know winter. Seems like winter in America. The truth is there ain't nobody fighting because well, nobody knows what to say. Brother, say so. Winter in America. The Constitution was a noble piece of paper, and with free society, well, they struggle but they died in vain. And now democracy is ragtime on the corner, unemployed, and I'm hoping that it rains. Yes, it's been a hoping for some rain. Just don't look like rain. I've seen the robin perched in barren treetops. They're watching the last ditch races marching across the floor. And like these signs that melted in our dreams and never had a chance to grow. Well, they never had a chance to grow. Somebody wants to know, tell them it's a winter. Nothing goes in winter in America. It's a time when all of the healers done been killed or they've been betrayed. Say, even though it's something wrong here, it feel like it seems like winter in America. Yes, well, the truth is there's nobody fighting because well, nobody knows what to say. The sisters save the babies. Winter in America. Now it's winter. It's coldest winter in America. Yes, it's a time when all of the healers, brothers who could help us, done been killed. They put them in jail. Hey, even though it's something wrong, everybody ought to know when. It seems like winter in America. Yes, well, the truth is there ain't nobody fighting because, well, nobody knows what to say. Yes, well, the truth is nobody fighting because, well, nobody knows, nobody knows what to do. The truth is there ain't nobody fighting because nobody knows what to say.
That may have something to do with it too, but it's all God's program.
Right.
But I try to eat as healthy as I can. Sometimes I get out of line, like everybody else.
I just want to know if my Detroit plays is still Furs and Gators. I just want to know. Ain't no question, baby. R.I.P. Big, that was big. My Detroit players.
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, that's them Detroit players. The money getting motherfuckers. That's up. Yeah.
10 Mile for life. You know how we do it.
Real nigga do
Throw
real
them up,
shit.
baby. Hat and all that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it down, baby. Yeah.
Does it smell like money?
Hey, let me get that stuff.
Dito, appreciate you. They giving that money for them shows. You dig? Hey, shouts to Al Prophet. You already know. R.I.P. Blade. You already know. Shouts to the whole Detroit.
The wisdom that God gave us. We go from place to place and work in the fields and then, you know, on ranches and different stuff, you know, and that's what we did. We worked in the cotton field, we worked on hog ranches and sheep ranches and you name it. And all of that was coming up.
Wow, that's
We fed ourselves through crops and our gardens and stuff that we raised, food and crops and canned and put up fruit and stuff. We made, that's the way we made it.
so y'all grew your own food.
Yeah, we grow beans, peas, all kind of vegetables, and canned them.
Wow, and canned them.
Yeah, and put them up for hard time.
Thank you. Good evening. You know, the old Latin saying, art is long, life is short. Well, for some lucky performers, art is long and life is long. And the two seem to keep regenerating each other from year to year. And that is certainly the case with my guest tonight, the great Alberta Hunter. She came up in the 1920s with the likes of Bessie Smith and Louis Armstrong and Josephine Baker, and she is still going strong today at the age of 84. And in the intervening years, there were club dates and recordings in Broadway and London and Paris, and a really rich career. She has a million stories about all that, of course. There was a brief pause of 20 years or so during which she was retired from show business and was a nurse. But with the help of a jazz impresario named Barney Josephson, she came to her senses, and a couple of seasons ago, she made a triumphant comeback at Mr. Josephson's club in Greenwich Village called The Cookery. And a line in one of Alberta Hunter's songs seems to say it all. It's, there's plenty of good tunes left in an old violin. And there's a honey in there. There's plenty of good tunes, honey, left in an old violin. There, that sounds better. And anyway, to show you what she means, here she is singing a bit of her theme, My Castle's Rockin', accompanied by Gerald Cook the piano, Aaron Bell on bass. Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to welcome back Miss Alberta Hunter.
Some night my captain rocking. You can blow your top, cause everything's free. On the top floor, the third door to the rear. I swear you'll always find me. Stuff is there, the chicks fairly romp with glee. Don't worry about a thing, cause I'm laying it on the line for protection. Tell them cats downtown, let their conscience be. Oh, come on up, bring your friends, and we'll start that ball rolling. My castle's rocking, run on by and see. Yeah. Said one. Thank you. Thank you. And now a song I wrote for Robert Altman's new picture, Remember My Name, starring Geraldine Chaplin and Tony Perkins. The title of the picture is Remember My Name, and the title of the song is The Love I Have for You. I never fret or worry, at no time am I blue. I spend my days rejoicing because of the love that I have for you. The love I have for you makes my burdens light. The love I have for you makes my blue days bright. Asleep or awake, dear, your face I see. The sunshine of your smile is a guide for me. The love I have for you is within my heart. The love I have for you is a thing set apart. You can search and search again, from end to end, through and through. You'll never find a love like the love I have for you. The love I have for you is within my heart. The love I have for you is a thing set apart. You can search the universe, but my dear, if you do, you'll never find a love like the love I have for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
My mother, she was a praying woman.
Okay. Is that who kind of introduced you to it?
Yes, sir. At an early age.
Okay.
At a very early age.
Right.
Mr. Jackson, it's alleged that just 6 years ago you were earning a little better than $3 an hour as an auto production worker. Just how did you come to acquire this home in Southfield and your other business interests, your automobiles?
Well, I think the law states, that you have to file your income. If I tell you that, then you know my secret, But as long as I file my income, and I think this is what the law states, and I do that.
Do you deny flatly that you are in any way tied in with the illegal drug
Yes,
traffic?
I do.
Would you care to reveal just what your business holdings are, how you've acquired this wealth?
No, it is a matter of record. If you want to check on that, you can check.
It's a matter of record. You're saying that you have property?
Yes, I do.
How did you acquire the property? Would you mind telling us that, sir?
Well, if I tell you that, then you'll know my business.
You're supposed to create everything and do everything, get everything handed to it and give to it. But God sees different. You see, you have to work out your soul salvation. You got to work it out, and by that you got to be obedient to the word of God. And if you're in church and trying to live right and do right, well, God's right there with you, because He said in His word He would be with you always, even until the end of time. So He's always with us. And if anybody gets steps out of line, it's us, it's not Him.
Right.
We steps out of line, and then we don't want to take the whooping or take what it takes to get back in. But when you get out of line, your day is coming. It's coming back to you. You might get away for a while, a long while, but it's coming up again. So you have to stay in line. And this is the reason why I say I'm not always, many of us, ain't always been Christian. We walk contrary to God's will just like the rest of them. But the thing of it is, you come to yourself and get back in. God always leaves a space for you. And if He leaves a space, that space is to repent and get back in line with God. And when you get in line, stay in there. Stay in the circle. Don't get out. Stay in there. And it's going to get rough. Don't you think it's all peaches and cream, because it's not. It's hard to obey God, and the devil is always on your trail. He's always, if it ain't one thing, it's something else. You have sickness, you have heartache, you have pain, you have other things that you got to deal with. But you got to put your trust in God. If you trust Him, stay with Him. We're so easy to give up. We give up. You leave little things, every time the wind blows, we get up, we run, we scared to death. And don't have to go to the doctor and get a report. You get a bad report like you got kidney trouble, cancer or something, oh, it just goes all to pieces. But God's got it all in His hand. If we be obedient to God and live according to Him, we got to endure hard. We have to endure hardness. We have to endure hardness and be obedient. Call on His name. He said, call on me in the time of trouble. I'll hear and I'll deliver you. Then you shall glorify me. So He wants you to call on Him. He knows you're going to have these things. He knows you're going to have some trials. He said you will have trials. But God is with you. So He's with us even when we think He's not. He's with us anyway. And we just have to believe Him and be obedient to the Word. Stay with the Word. Stay with the Lord no matter what.
Yes, sir.
You run into hardships and hard things and hard trouble sometimes. Sometimes it looks like it's just too hard to bear. But you got to bear it anyhow. Because He said He's with you. If you notice, I think you said you was at the funeral?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember me saying in the Word that how people just pray and pray and pray, and they seem like they can't get no hearing from God?
Yes, sir.
And would you hear me quote the scripture about Jesus when He went to the Garden of Gethsemane? And He prayed so hard that drops of blood drops of sweat rolled off him like blood. And then that's when he said in a different language, but he said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? He thought God done forsaken him. We feel the same way when we pray and pray and nothing happens. Trouble just keep on coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It just keeps right on coming. No matter how hard we pray and how hard we try, it just keeps on coming. But don't give up.
Yes, sir.
When you give up, you quit. And a quitter never wins. And a winner never quit. You got to keep on trusting in God. Right at the last moment, God can change things. And this is what's going to happen here in the days to come. Because he said in the Word, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in these last days. They're going to be doing the same thing they were doing then. They didn't believe. They were drinking and doing everything, married, giving in marriage, whoremongering and everything else. They'll be doing the same thing. When he comes, it'll be too late.
Right.
So we have to be obedient, put our trust in God, whether we want to or not. Treat everybody like you want to be treated. Your neighbor, even they may kick you in the pants, and I've had a whole lot of that.
Right.
But don't you try to fight back. The Lord said he'll fight your battle. And he will. You might get away with it right now, but you ain't going to get away long because it's coming up again. So we have to be obedient and stay with the Lord. Wait on him. And the word says, I said wait on the Lord. Ain't that what it said, Curtis? Mm-hmm. All right.
Right. Now, one thing.
She's just 15 years old, and this young lady already has her master's degree.
She really is amazing. The city of Roanoke awarded Elena McWhorter the key to the city for her accomplishments in academics. When she was just 12, she became the youngest person of color to intern at NASA. Now, she's got her master's degree in biology and her bachelor's in biomedical sciences. So what's next on her list of dreams?
They're pretty big. So many different things that I'm looking to accomplish, whether it's PhD or medical school. There's so many endless possibilities that could come along from journeying. Just leaving the hometown to go find out who I really am, what I'm really going to do.
I can tell you right now, it's going to be something pretty amazing. She's going to be leaving in a couple of months to pursue her PhD in integrated biomedical sciences at Loma Linda University in California this fall.
I was obedient to my parents and other elders. I didn't go around. There's a lot of them, if you wasn't on their parents, they wouldn't listen to that. They wouldn't hear you, and they'd get in, talk all kind of talk to you, and talk back and sass and go. I've never did that.
I promise you, if you will hold tight, that I will hurry home this very night. Now, who like to hear him was Al Capone. He come up, hey, where is that Jeepers Creepers guy? So the other inmates there said, Jeepers. I said, yeah. Now what made him call me Jeepers, he come in on it, where is that Jeepers Creepers guy? And every time I do it, he give about everybody on the tier, like this big jail here, Capone bought everybody a steak sandwich.
Every day?
Yes, so we used to eat upstairs in that building there upstairs there. We lived up there like a king with Capone, because he bought all our food. To hear me here, and all he wanted was to hear that Jeepers Creepers guy. Now, you have suits tailor-made for $22.50. I didn't know anything about the clothes. That's why I still stuck. Anybody see me and I'm not dressed like this, it ain't Jeepers. they all expect for me to be dressed. Get out of town before it's too late, because you know that heaven can wait. Heart and soul. I fell in love with Melancholy Road down by the Sugar Bowl. Now it can be told that Jeepers Creepers held a concert in the park. He was happy as a lark when the moon looked down at Lord and said, blind fools of fate and slaves of circumstance. One thing is true and the rest is lies. The flower that bloomed today forever dies.
Mama and Dad, Mama would get a hold to you right quick. You might get by with Dad once in a while, but Mama didn't. She did. You didn't get by. You didn't get by. You got what you had coming to you.
Right. Okay.
Yes, and
okay.
I learned right at an early age. I was young. I got to be a teenager, and I learned not to talk after a lot of the old folks. My dad, you know, he liked to cut up and joke and tell a lot of foolishness. And I thought I could do it too, you know. But I found out different.
Right.
We had to give thanks when we get up for breakfast in the morning. Before we eat, we give thanks to God. Always pray. And every child around the table had a Bible verse. You remembered that, you quoted that, you know it. And if you didn't do it, well then you don't eat. So my dad had a bad habit of joking. And he'd tell a joke. He got up one thing, he'd always tell a joke, and when we asked the blessing, maybe sometimes she'd ask the blessing, sometimes he would. When he blessed the food, and then all it come time for all the children to have a verse, a Bible verse, well, he said, they learned Jesus wept. That's the first one they learned. Well, my dad, he jumped up one morning and he said, Jesus wept and Peter crept. Paul, he crawled and beat them all. Yeah. Well, I like that, you know, that's funny. That's funny to me.
Right.
So it went on, and I thought maybe I could do it. I jumped up, I was on a stool, and they all said the blessing. They got around to me. I said, Jesus wept, Peter crept, and Paul, and that's the last I got. I got to lick up past my head, knocked me up under the table. I don't know how I got under there, but I got up on the inside of the table, and said, you know what you said? I'll teach you some table manners. You don't come to my table, sit up here and do. And that learned me right then. You better watch your mouth.
Right.
But learn how to keep your mouth shut sometimes. Your mouth will cause you get you in a lot of trouble. You back in to get in a lot of trouble.
Right. Okay. So, as far as like, do you?
Surely, as they could identify the one, they would have made preparations, laying at 2, 3, or 4 to be the next one if you play the one game with them. I remember the old movie Dance with Wolves, where they used to sit in a circle, much in duplication of you, the original circular decision makers. No decision was made linearly in a straight line, up, down, or straight sideways. You were the people who saw the come around, go around, the reap what you sow, the cause and effects. That was your understanding about the world, and it was deviated by another group that saw it from top down. That I will conquer you because we believe in individual leadership and solo responsibility.
I learned a whole lot. I learned a whole lot. A lot of things I didn't need to know about.
Right.
About sitting around, you know, eavesdropping and listening, you know.
Right.
And all the old jokes and all the old funny jokes and all, I knew them because, you know, I listened to them, you know. And when I get with the boy, we get around, we tell jokes and how, you know, we have fun too, you know. But they didn't want you to do that. They didn't want you to hear them.
Right.
And because they know you were going to do it, and they didn't want you to do it.
Before you came around, I asked myself, what is this thing called love? There were clouds, the rain kept pouring down. Then you bought the sun, yes you did. Showed me all the differences between a woman and a girl. Right then I knew I could be a good man. With you inside my world, my world, my world. I don't need to take a toll, 'cause I'm on a natural high. Everybody's blowing smoke, but girl, you never lie. No. Friends say that I'm here, but they're just hating their lives. I know they want what I got. It comes once in a lifetime, yeah. You're the reason why I say all of life's fun. It's like rainbows and shining stars. Baby, you are. You're the reason why I say all of life's fun. And vintage jars. Baby, you are. I was a bad seed, and you nourished me, encouraged me till I grew tall as a tree, as a tree. You had patience to search, find and bring out all the best in me. Yes, you did. You see things I couldn't see. My mental potential, girl, you showed me, yeah. Now it's a reality, and I promise for you I'm gonna be all that I can be. I don't need to take a toll, 'cause I'm on a natural high. Everybody's blowing slow, but girl, you never, 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 never lie. Friends say that I'm here, but they're just hating their lives. I know they want what I got. It only comes once in a lifetime, baby, baby. You're the reason why I say all of life's finer things. Hey, baby, you are, yeah. You're the reason why I say all of life's finer things. Baby, you are, you are, baby, you are. And I mean it, baby. So you're number one in my book, and forever you got me hooked. Baby, you are, you are, you are. Take it back, y'all, come on. You're everything I need, baby, just stay here with me. You are, you are all of life's fine things. Baby, 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 you are, yeah. Baby, you are my everything.
We go fishing, and we'd have ball games and play ball. And, we didn't have no ball, we made our own ball. And it was hard, but we made hard ball, and we played ball and go fishing. And we did stuff like that, you know, for amazement time and more time in church.
Joking?
Huh?
And sit around joking?
Oh yeah, we did all that joking and going on. That the old folks were doing that, but they didn't want you to hear them.
Right.
because they think you hear them say something, they put you out. You getting out of here.
No, that's it. My father and mother felt that there was nothing that either of us, because of gender, couldn't do. Just like when we grew up, when you doing the housework, just like in some families, the women do the dishes. Whoever, every boy or girl, did whatever had to be done, and the same thing was true with careers. So when I said I wanted to be a lawyer, that was not something that fazed my father at all. He recognized, though, that I would encounter it. I would encounter opposition from others, but not from my family. I was blessed that way, in that he felt that each person, you choose to be whatever you be. The only thing he said, be the best that you can be.
I think leadership is being empowered by certain principles and goals to inspire others to share those principles and goals and to work with you toward them. It's not being perfect. Yeah, hadn't been but one perfect. I tell my wife she might well marry me. I'm as perfect as she go find. But we're not perfect, and it's not driving. It's sort of inspiring people, convincing, urging, cajoling, leading people to share your vision and to work with you to realize it.
Today's ceremony was dealing with regenerating forces that going under, that we all must go under to find things that we want to present outward. It's relating to the season. And in the psychic way, it would take you back where many metaphysical teachers teaches the rise of the psychic that must flows up from the Kundalini force upward, or the sexual force plays a big role in the psychic development. As we come today with the burning of the universe at our side, giving all praise unto the oneness of the universe, which we are all connected, and all things flows from all direction to us. Today we are indeed grateful to be able to be here and to stand here and be able to lift our voices unto all forces, and to be able to proclaim the glory of that which we came from, which is our ancestors. And without the ancestors, there would be nothing. They all stand before us as we come into the world, and they all stand at the door when we go out.
It is the police call everybody will be talking about. Thanks for joining us here at 6 o'clock. I'm Denise Valdez.
I'm Brian Loftus. A family says something crashed into their backyard, prompting them to call 911, saying they saw creatures walking around.
Our 8 News Now investigators digging into this for weeks now. And tonight, our David Sharns with the video you will only see on 8 News Now. David?
Right, Denise, sources telling the 8 News Now investigators that several agencies believe something landed or crashed. Whether it was non-humans or not, it certainly scared the people living on this property. Now, before we show you that video, listen to their call for help.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
In my backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually, we're terrified of it.
So there's 2 people or 2 subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot, 9 feet, 10 foot. I don't know. They look like aliens to us. Big eyes. They have big eyes, like I can't explain it. And big mouth. They're shiny eyes, and they're not human. They're 100% they're not human.
Okay.
Well, the 8 News Now investigators obtaining video as officers then responded to the call you just heard. You'll see the officers also saw something in the sky that night, but the big question is, what was it, and is it all connected?
Leave her alone.
It's almost midnight on May 1st when a Las Vegas Metro police officer's body cam catches this, something flashing low in the sky.
911 emergency.
Minutes later,
there's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Someone calls 911 reporting 2 large figures in their backyard.
No, I'm so nervous right now.
The 8 News Now investigators obtaining another officer's video as he's sent to the Northwest Valley home.
I have butterflies, bro. Everyone saw a shooting star, then these people say there's aliens in their backyard.
By now, it's more than an hour after that bright light. Officers meeting up with the caller and his family.
What'd you see?
It was like a big creature.
A big creature?
Yeah, like around 10 feet tall.
I'm not going to BS you guys. One of my partners said they saw something fall out of the sky too, so that's why I'm kind of curious. Did you see anything land in your backyard, or?
They see like a big, that's what they say. They see like a big something with light.
What I saw right now, I do believe in it.
Police walk into the backyard to investigate, but Metro blacked out that part of the video because it's considered private property. What's clear, they're taking this call seriously.
Hey, this might sound like a really dumb question, but did you guys see anything fall out of the sky?
Asking others what they saw.
I would normally discount it as nothing. However, seeing as one of my partners said they saw it too, only reason I'm actually investigating it further.
That investigation turning up no concrete answers as of Wednesday. Whatever or whoever fell into that yard, long gone within minutes.
Oh, hey. If those 9-foot beings come back, don't call us, all right? Deal with it yourself. I ain't dealing with that.
So yeah, this is quite weird, Brian was saying as we're watching this story. Now, we've been in contact with the family in that video, and as you heard in that 911 call, they seem very reasonable and honestly quite scared as you heard them in the call. No, they don't seem impaired in any way. And whatever crashed by the time the police got there was gone, but sources say that there's really no dispute. Something was in their yard. Exactly what? We do not know.
I mean, it's so interesting. So, like, the Metro officers see something, the neighbors see something. I mean, so what could it be?
Well, we know that there are obviously a lot of military bases around this area. George Knapp covers a lot of that stuff for us on the 8 News Now investigators. We're showing you drone video from above that area. And we know, of course, Creech not far away, Nellis Air Force Base not far. I checked in with them. They say they are not involved at all, and we are waiting to hear from the Pentagon as well.
And you talked to these people. It seemed completely legitimate to you. And do you have any personal thoughts on maybe what it was?
Right. So it seems from talking to our sources that something happened. There was obviously some flash in the sky. A lot of people saw it that night on the night of April 30th, early in the morning on May 1st. Did that exact thing land in their yard? I don't know. But these people said they saw some SUV circling the area. Could this have been some piece of equipment that malfunctioned? Maybe they saw something and then someone came. I can't believe we're talking about this.
Right.
Someone came and
Picked
retrieved it from the backyard in the SUV. We don't know. This all comes as a former high-level intelligence officer, a veteran, was on News Nation talking about how there is a program where the government collects some unidentified objects. So this might be that. We just don't know. We're going to work to find out, though.
And
Brian
no
Duty.
substances. They were looking with clear eyes. Goodness.
Very interesting.
Not big buggy eyes, though.
This is really unique. Thank you, David.
He was a preacher.
Okay.
Now, I never knew him to pastor no church. It was my grandfather, but he was a preacher.
Okay. Okay.
And they got it all from there. They went to church. Well, every time the door was open, they were there.
Wow.
They had to be, else there wouldn't be no skin left on them.
And in order to dig deep into our origins, we have to rely on the mythology. First of all, this word mythology has been used to denote a bunch of untrue sayings or something that's not really, not really valid and stuff, and that's what the white boy does to throw us off. When Gerald Massey tells you in Natural Genesis that mythology means mutu, which is truth and spiritual teachings of history. And but they have kind of defunct that. Meanwhile, you can get a PhD in mythology in the European in his schools. But yet, we're trained that those are just saying a bunch of crazy people and all types of stuff like that. So it gives you this particular psychological disadvantage until and not unless you look into this particular science and try to find out that in actuality, they literally tell you basically the history through the mythology. Now, they always tell you, and in order to understand ancient Kemet, you're going to have to, fortunately, you're going to have to look at other systems. Why I say that is this. No ancient system comes totally intact with the fragments that you need to really put the complete system together. Also, we must weigh that the white boy that has thousands of our papyrus that we have never seen. We're talking about literally thousands and thousands and thousands, maybe millions of papyruses all over Europe that we haven't even seen that has ample amount of correct history in Kemet alone, because Kemet has more records than anybody. But the good part about that is they have preserved other cultures, and in those other cultures, when you study that, since it's only one knowledge, you can put the pieces together to understand Kemet. Because what we get from Kemet is mostly the solar dynasties, and that's very late.
I go around and tell people about God and read the Bible verses and ask them what is their favorite song. We sing that.
Not only did what happened in Vegas not stay in Vegas, it circled the known universe. The frenzy grew when reports surfaced that unknown authorities had afterwards placed cameras around this family's home. The family was driven into hiding, off the grid, out of sight, underground. But 10 months later, the mystery lives on, and looky-loos and alien hunters are still on the prowl. The family posted no trespassing signs, but break-ins have been reported frequently here, as recently as last week at this home. Tonight, a News Nation exclusive. The teenager who made that 911 call is finally speaking publicly at length and laying out exactly what he saw that night and what has happened since. Our national correspondent Alex Capriello joins me with that live from Las Vegas tonight. So, Alex, it's really compelling with the advent of a year passing almost, that they've had a chance to digest what it is they've been through. They have kept quiet. They are not looking for attention. And yet now you're getting information, especially from this 15-year-old or the 17-year-old, that's pretty alarming.
Yeah, and I've found out from speaking to Angel Kenmore that life just really has not been all that easy for the past year since they saw that 10-foot-tall creature in their backyard right here behind me. For him, he says that he's plain and simple traumatized by it all. He says he can't sleep at night. He's become slightly paranoid. He cries at night, trying to make sense, heads or tails, of what exactly he saw that night, playing it back over and over in his head. You can imagine the torment that's going through in his head. But to this day, none of the family has a very good explanation about what exactly they saw that night. But to their credit, they've stayed pretty consistent about the facts and the details. I really grilled him about that, trying to get him to remember as much as he possibly could about that night. Here's a portion of our conversation. What do you remember about that night? What do you remember seeing?
Oh, start again, I guess. We were in the backyard fixing the truck, and then out of nowhere we just see a big light fall down and basically crash in the backyard. And moments after, like a couple of seconds after, I saw the big giant creature in front of me. The alien, whatever you guys want to call it. The alien, demon, whatever you guys want to call it.
What do you believe it is?
A demon.
A demon?
Yeah.
So maybe that's changed, that once you thought it was an alien, now you believe it was a demon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, you know, only God knows what it was. But I'm thinking it's like something bad, you know, not a good thing.
Was it moving? Was it doing?
Yes, it was moving. It was, you could see like, he was breathing, like he was like pissed off. Like he wanted to do something.
And he was looking at you and your brother?
He was looking at me, yeah.
Did he say anything?
Mm-mm. Well, I remember he was growling like a dog, like he was growling.
When did it end?
As soon as I closed my eyes, I guess. I don't know. I think I was praying or something like that, and it just let me go. That's when I went inside, and you know, I saw my dad. I mean, I saw it too.
It felt like it had a control of your body?
Oh yeah, I couldn't move. I couldn't move, yeah.
You were paralyzed at the sight of this thing.
Yeah, I couldn't move.
And you were looking at it for 30 or so seconds, and then all of a sudden it was gone?
Yeah. That was pretty creepy.
You got to believe. You got to believe something. If you don't believe in God, you believe in the devil. If I can help anybody or somebody, then my living will not be in vain.
You'd get a killing, but some of them don't care about getting whooped. But my brother, he had a mouth that he just couldn't keep it shut. And he was always rattling off at the mouth. And he told me, he said, I want to live to get 30 years old, and he didn't. I think he left here at 29, wasn't John Wayne?
Yeah, young.
I think he's about 29 when he left. But, you know, you'd always snatch back, you get mad, you know, and but if he's close in range, if you get mad and snatch back, you won't find yourself getting up over yonder somewhere.
Right.
But, you know, he get off and say something smart, walk out, you know.
Right.
But I never did it. I never did it, and I didn't like them doing it, but they, you know.
Right. So
some of them that did it.
Right. Okay.
But obedience, obedience is when you're obedient to your parents, to your elders, God recognizes that. And he said, if you be disobedient to your parents, your days will be shortened. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Is that what it said, but your days will be shortened. So, but I really wasn't going, but I was being obedient because I wanted to stay in good standing with my.
In 1960, I went to a conference where a Polish man by the name of George Adamski was holding forth about UFOs. And he went on to say that he had seen some, and he began to visit the kings and queens throughout Europe. And they invited him, and they paid him good money. And I was impressed by how could this little Polish man visit kings and queens in Europe, receive $5,000 to $10,000 per lecture, and be talking about foolishness. I was impressed by that. So with the zeal and drive of youth, I ran down to this symposium, found out I was the only black young man there. For these were not attended by generally black people. I went to this hotel, and in a bright, ponderous voice, burst out where he was doing a press interview and said, Mr. Adamski, I got to talk with you. him as a black boy or black youth. I talked to him as a universal mind that wanted to know something that nobody else had been able to teach me. And believe it or not, instead of being arrested by some of the guards, who immediately, when I burst in upon this mezzanine scene, accosted me, he said, "Let him go, I know him, I'll talk with him." Well, he didn't know me from Adam. We wound up talking for 7 hours, roughly about 10:45 at night to 5 o'clock in the morning, on a mezzanine in downtown Chicago. And I asked him all kind of questions, and I told him the reason why I asked, because of all the books that I had read about UFOs and extraterrestrials and how the races of man begin and all the things about that. His came closest to be what I thought might be truth, but I wanted to question him as to his veracity and why also he said he could not name the aliens that he met because it was not right according to universal law. Well, to make a long story short, and I have all of this on tape, some of you have asked me about it, it's right there on Close Encounters of the Fourth Kind. He invited me back the next day. I was in school. I had no extra money. I said, I can't come back. I came to this one because I wanted to find out, and I appreciate that. He says, but you made some points and raised, because he was with a lot of charlatans, so-called psychics that weren't. I know what a psychic is. These weren't. And a lot of other things, again, that just didn't seem to fit. So he said, come back tomorrow. I'll have your way paid at the door, and I want you to see something for yourself. I said, I'll try. As usual, I went to my couple of buddies, and as usual, the couple of buddies couldn't find time to go to a UFO convention. There was better things to do. After all, it was a Friday and Saturday night. You know about that, don't you? Sure you did. Having gone there, and I watched a 16-second frame showing UFOs zooming over a couple of buildings, and then a minute-and-a-half segue showing 5 UFOs zooming around a Army Air Force fighter. And then he stopped it and detailed again, showing shadows and characters and so you can begin to get points of reference which anybody who's dissecting a film for fraud wants. And then afterwards, he began to chastise his audience by saying, well, this is not afterwards, in the middle of it, by saying, those of you who are with the CIA, and at the time the CIA was something that I wasn't familiar with, those of you who are with this and that, why do you follow me around? Why do you give me such a hard time if I'm actually saying nothing? And he kept on harping on this, and then I began to notice a strange thing in the audience. People began to get up, turn red, because like I say, I was the only black face I remember there. See, if I turned red, they'd say, oh, he's just flushing a little bit. And leave and walk out and so on again like this. At the end of the lecture, I looked around the audience, and since I had had so much of Mr. Adamski's time, I felt it would be an imposition to spend more time on a Q&A. And so I looked around in the audience with whoever else I could fraternize with, trying to see if there might be somebody there that I could meet, share books, literature, and stuff about this. And this is when I saw 2 black men in the audience that I had not seen before. And because they were black, and because I felt therefore they might live in the hood, and might have some things in common with the brother, I went up to them and I say, hey, bruh, you know, man, I'm glad to see you here, so forth. One was about 5'4", fairly short gentleman. The other was about 6'2½", and in 60, that's a pretty tall gentleman. One had a bush, and at that, not George, had a bush that, of course, at that time, a fro, that they were not wearing too much later, and the other had a very neat cropped, close-cut hair. When I went up there again, they both looked at me as though I was from outer space. I said, oh? I said, hey, bro, you didn't hear me, right? What do you think about Mr. Adamski's thing? We're not talking to you. I said, oh, my God, they're passing. Well, I only saw 2 faces that looked like mine there, and they weren't. So, again, I was again confused. So I went off to a white woman who was standing at the corner of the room. It's a big ballroom, by the way, where they had the lecture, who had been with Mr. Adamski that night before. I didn't ask him to identify her. He only said that she traveled with him. That was enough for me. But I noticed in the course of his conversation how reserved she seemed to be. And also when things got real tough, he seemed to kind of look at her for recognition or for highlights. So I felt he had respect for her. That was good enough for me. I had respect for her. The brothers didn't want me. I thought, well, maybe a white woman might. I go over there, I smile, say, is it okay to talk with you a bit? Adamski's pretty busy over there, so on and so forth. She says, fine. We start talking. And then I notice her looking distinctly past me. Now, you're talking. I look people in the eye when I talk. And I'm looking her right in the eye, and she's looking past me, and she hadn't done that. Be last night or the day before. I said, why is this woman doing this? So I'm looking, I turn around. Guess who's coming up? All two of them. The brothers. Here they come. I said, doggone it. Soon as I start talking to a white woman, here come the brothers. So I had a chip on my shoulder by this time again. I'm giving you exactly as it happened to me in '60 to get you to understand the vibes of what I'm going to drop on you. Here they come, and of course I said, well, I'm going to make this short. I'm not going to introduce them. But lo and behold, I turn around. She is nodding. They're nodding. She walks away. I am outdone. I say, now, come on. Enough is enough. I said, you're leaving? She says, yes. Okay, now I got my high pants on, my hip pockets up high, and my lips out. And I got jaws that are pretty tight. So they came over and they speak. I didn't say nothing. So he says, I came a long way to see you. He says, I know that I seemed disrespectful, but I was very intent, and I was told I was supposed to meet somebody, and the person I thought that I was to meet was one of the questioners up talking to Mr. George Adamski. I found out it was not. It is you. Hello. I said, not now, bro. You had your opportunities. You don't step up. First time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. At any rate, we finally got past that, and something just came over me and said, listen and learn, and listen to what the man is going to say. So I said, well, okay, you're here to answer any question I have? He said, yes. I said, yeah, and he's here to what, supervise it? I get very smart alecky at times, okay? He said, no, but he's here to observe. I said, great. I said, well, what am I supposed to ask? He said, you had a lot of questions last night, some of which Mr. Adamski couldn't answer, but you have none now. And I said, well, I hear what you said. I said, but if you treat everybody that you meet the way you treated me, then you have a pattern of ego that I might not even want to trust. He says, you are brash. I said, yes, I am. Then became an episode in my life that has changed my life forever, caused me to make a decision to go into metaphysics rather than into the corporate world, and caused me to voraciously study and meditate almost now on a daily basis, and I'm so happy it happened, I don't know what to do. Not only did I lose time while in the presence of these brothers, but I time traveled because I saw that place there as it probably looked at least 90 years before when it was first constructed, and little old men with the little, I know you probably don't even remember this, you may have seen it in the movies, where to unscrew bulbs you had to set up a little thing like this, an extension, and twist them. You know what I'm talking about? Okay, saw all of this as I'm standing there talking to him, so on and so forth again. And one of the questions I had asked him was, what was time? And he says, well, you ask about time. And I said, yes. He says, well, look around you. And I saw all of this, and I said, well, I guess this is true. And I said, well, wow, all the people have left. This guy's turning out the lights. And then it hit me what I had said. There were at least 300 people in that hotel auditorium. And I'm standing by the doorway away from Adamski, who was, I guess, these 50 people were up there asking him questions. To get out of the hotel room, you had to come by where I was standing talking to these two men. I look around, and someone is turning off the light, but not by the means that I had just seen, and the people had filed out past me to the elevator down the hall, and I hadn't been aware of any of it. So I said, wait a minute, this may not be Oz, Toto, or is it Kansas? But still, in my brash self, I wasn't ready to accept exactly what was going down. So I still said, well, maybe we should move out to the hall. We moved out to the hall, and I'll tell you what, I'll wrap this up, but I want to share this because it does give a little background as to why I am doing what I do now. When I went out to the hall, there was a black woman who was the elevator operator for this particular service, and when she came up and leveled off the elevator and the last of the crowd got in, we got in behind them, and this little guy, the shorter fella, came up to her again, and he says, oh, I'm so sorry, and so forth again. And I said, well, this is strange. And she kind of was just shrugging him off, it's okay again. So we got down, we were on the, I think it was the 6th floor. So we got downstairs, and we all got off the elevator, and I said, can you guys wait a minute? I said, I want to talk to the lady on the elevator, because by now I was feeling kind of out of place, out of sorts. I came up to her, and I said, if you got time, I said, I just met these guys. And they said, they're kind of out the box, kind of weird. And I noticed that the little guy was really, saying something to you. What happened? Can you give me a little background? She says, when they came up late. And that the hotel doesn't have a lot of black guests. And the UFO conference is usually not visited by black people. At that time, we didn't use the word black that much. I think she'd say by colored people. And so I didn't think that they were going to the UFO thing. I assumed that they were going to a meeting that a few black people or colored people were meeting up on the next floor. So I went past the UFO thing. And the tall guy said, please, I want to get off here. So I stopped the elevator, brought it back down, and at this time one of the white men on the elevator said again something about niggers, sticking together, so on again like that. And he was angry because I had brought the elevator down to let these two black guys off, and it, I guess, whatever again. So I just took it, this is the woman talking now, she said, I just took it with a grain of salt, per se. He says, but the little guy just seemed to just go off. When he said niggers, he looked, he jumped at the guy, almost leaping across the floor. Then he stopped. He said he was shaking. He turned and looked at the big guy, and the big guy just kind of put his hand on his shoulder, and the guy just stood there. And he was looking all around. He says, I'm so sorry, something. Said the big guy just escorted him on out, and they left. So I said, well, you mean they'd never heard the word nigger before? So he says, well, not the way he acted. He didn't seem to even understand it or comprehend it. So I said, well, okay, these guys really are weird. I said, but maybe they come from some part of Africa, and they're not used to this kind of thing. So in the presence of these men, I had time predicted 15 minutes before an incident happened. I asked him, what was a Negro? He said there is no such thing as a Negro, that the word is Necro, N-E-C-R-O, and that they closed the G to confuse the situation. It is the dead, the unknowing, the lost in mind and consciousness, and they live in necrophiles. They are dead. I said, okay. He said, I'll give you an example of what a Negro is in about 20 minutes. I said, yeah, right. I said, at this time, I think I want to get out of the lobby because, oh, by the way, the man spoke very loud. He was not talking condescending. He talked. His voice boomed out. So I said, I think I'll go outside with these guys on the street. Still didn't feel too comfortable with this situation. So we're standing now outside in the front of the hotel, these three black men, these two and myself. He also, at that time, well, I'll have to explain to you how this really hit me. I was forming a question to ask him, and I felt the question was trite, that it might make me feel like I wasn't a big mental giant, And I was kind of wrestling with whether to ask him or not. And then he went ahead and he answered it, and I'm wrestling with this other answer. And I said, wait a minute. I said, I didn't say that to you. I said, I was thinking that. I said, I didn't say. And then finally my little braggadocious self kind of began to get itself in hand. I remember I stepped back away from him. And I said, who are you? He said, that's not important. I told you that I came a long way to answer your questions. He also, as he was talking, and the little guy was with him, constantly kept hungry. He kept saying, when are we going to eat? When are we going to eat? Okay, that was all he seemed to know outside of, don't call this woman nigger. Okay, those two things seemed to keep him pretty upset. So, at this time, when I'm going through this, I hear, ho, ho, ha, ha, yeah, baby, yeah, man. So, well, here come the Negroes. And around the corner, downtown Chicago, the loudest thing on the street, probably with, I'd say, with the least money in the pocket, but the loudest mouth on the street, came the Negroes. Ho, ho, ha, ha, and the whole... I said, how in the world did you know these guys were going to come around the corner 20 minutes ago? He said, that's not important. Those are your Negroes. Dead, lost, unknowing. I say, okay. This time, he kind of looks at the time. Oh, I asked him, do you have the time? And he kind of looked at the time. When he did this, I jumped again. I said, what in the world is that? Like I pull up, I got a watch on my arm. I don't know what he had on his arm. He said, it's a chronometer. I said, oh, thank you. I said, can you tell me what time your chronometer is keeping right now, boss? You know. At any rate, obviously something was different here. And with the mind reading, with the foretelling the future, with the time loss, I fell into a classic UFO extraterrestrial meeting that many people experience just about those same things. Only I had the privilege of restoring it at the time, doing it again without having to get on board some kind of spacecraft, but enough proof was given me that these weren't the learned professors that I had been taught by previously. They had a little bit more going for them. I asked them, why me? And the only question and the only time I got some kind of a reaction that was not controlled, this big guy was pretty controlled, from this tall fella, was when he kept asking me, did I know who I was? I said, yeah, I'm Del Blair. And if he asked me that 4 times, I asked him 5 times. Del Blair, I done told you that. Okay? That seemed to disgust him no end, and it kind of bothered me because I thought I knew my name. At any rate, that seemed to bother him, and as we began to break up this conversation, which lasted then, I guess, a total of almost an hour and a half after the lecture, I said, well, quite obviously, you're not going to invite me over to look at some of the magazines with you, are you? He said, you know I'm not. I said, he's not either, is he? He said, no. I said, do you think I'll see you guys again? He said, you may see him, but I doubt it. You will not see me again. I said, fine. I said, where did you say your address was? He smiled, and that was about it. I said, well, one other thing. I said, I have a big decision to make. And I said, I am wanting to find out if there are such things as UFOs. I said, could you think of anybody I might ask? He said, when do you want to see one? I said, now. He said, no good. I said, well, how would I go about seeing one? He says, watch the skies for the next week. I said, I'm always going around with my head up, but it's beginning to be dangerous nowadays. I'll have to get a buddy. I have a sense of humor. You have to, in the worst situations, I find humor, and a lot of people can't deal with that, but it's the way I get by it. So they went down the street. My first impulse was to try and follow it. A big, loud voice in my head said, play it off, brother. Go. You're not supposed to be there. You got your little audience. Go on and deal with yourself. So for the next 3 days, this happened on a Saturday night. It was a Friday night, Saturday when I came back. So that Sunday in the morning, I'm looking up, and of course, I got a crook in my neck, and that's about it. About the 3rd day, or that Tuesday night, I had an urge to go to a movie, and I came back kind of late, as usual, alone. And I'm walking down the street. Now, this is not some rural outback area on a highway. This is in downtown Chicago. I live in an area called Hyde Park, and it's quite a heavily traversed place. So I'm looking up, and it looks like I see two stars move. Well, I had been looking for stars to move for some time, or something to move up there that I could identify other than to hear everybody else talking about contacts. So I looked and said, yeah, it didn't move. My eyes playing trick. I got to get my lenses changed. So consequently, I walked on down the street a little bit more. And then they darted, and then I did see something that caught my eye, and so I watched. And three of these stars came down in a linear thing like this, and then kind of not too fast, but not too slow either. They're moving maybe about 30 miles an hour. And they kept up perfect formation. If you've seen the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, how many have seen that movie? Well, that's just the way that Spielberg represented it, like they kind of moved when they came to Devil's Mountain and this kind of thing. That's exactly how these three stars dropped down and came across. I'm sharing this with you, and I talk about it now. I didn't talk about it for 18 years. And I'm telling you I'm doing all of this, so you won't have to ask a lot of questions about my background on this. I'm giving you the full details. When these UFOs, or whatever they were, came over, I could tell that the way they were traveling and the way I was walking, they would go by a bank of buildings, and I wouldn't be able to see them because of the rooftops. But it happened in the block that I lived in. So I had two choices: to run back to the corner, run around the corner, get to the alley, run down the alley where the backyards were open, I could see a clear view, or run up into my apartment, run through the house, run out the back door and see them. Either way, I thought I was going to blow it. The decision was to go up in the house. So I raced up the stairs, so on and so forth. Again, I was a newlywed at that time, too. Raced in the house, honey, 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 follow me in the back. What is wrong with you, man? Don't ask questions, follow me in the back. So here I go rushing out the back. Here she comes rushing out the back. And I burst out in the back, and man, I like to change my diapers. I look up out there, and here are these three things now having come down even closer, and they're distinctly there. It reminded me so much, again, of the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where these craft were sitting on the landing field with the government secret base. Remember how it looked? That's just how they looked, and they could not have been any more than 1,500 feet up in the air. They were cloaked in some kind of an energy field. I assume it's an electromagnetic field, and they were all pulsing and glowing and so on like this again. And of course, by this time, she burst out onto the porch. She knows I was a way out character when she married me, and I remember her explanations. God, what have you done now? Now, you talk about an understatement. I said, I don't know what I've done. She says, I said, look at this. She said, no, I don't see this. And she went back in the house, probably something I should have done. She went back in the house, and there I was as usual, left alone, looking at this. Well, I was fascinated because I'd asked for this. And then one just kind of began to kind of pulse and glow, and then, boom. If I hadn't seen all three there, I would, and if she hadn't said, what have you done now, which let me know she saw something too, I'd have thought I was crazy, because like you see three, then you see two. I watched the next one, and it began to kind of go up and zigzag, right-angle turns. It took about 7 minutes to go off to the south. One went north, one went south. The last one took at least 17 minutes, and I remember just like it was yesterday because it changed my life. Went straight out, and eastward was over the lake from where I live in Chicago, and it must have taken at least, let's say, 17 to 20 minutes to go there. Well, they had demonstrated three ways of flight aerodynamic lift. They had showed what they're capable of doing. And since the brother had told me to watch the skies for the next week, I think that I had an answer. Do you think I did? Up until that time, I knew that all extraterrestrial UFO occupants or whatever were white. Now I found out that they were black spacemen. Why hasn't anybody ever written a book about that? One book written by one man, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, talking about the mother plane. But all the other books I read on contact and stuff is always with white spacemen or blonde spacemen and so on and so forth. These guys were not blonde, these guys were black, and one looked very Negroid, African, or whatever you like to call it. It let me know that maybe I didn't have to search in another race for my angels, that maybe some were black and with me then. But at any rate, after that, my life took an entirely different course. I was able to read and remember things voraciously, and I lost a lot of the braggadocio and ego because I had seen what real ego was and real talent was, and I wanted to duplicate some of it and didn't know if I'd have the privilege. From that time on, I've been saved from 2 major accidents by miracles. I have been taken, and because they told me where could I learn more about it, they said go to a metaphysical bookstore. I said, what is that? And I say, well, okay, I'd been studying things about UFOs, but what is a metaphysical bookstore? I found that my trigger, and some of you may know what your cosmic trigger is too, was chili. Whenever for 15 years I got a craving for chili, I was going to have a metaphysical experience. We all have our triggers. And one of the first times where that happened that I could identify was on a day when I was getting off from work a little bit early. I'd finished up my work a little bit faster, and I got this overwhelming desire for chili. And when I finally got to the place where the chili was, there was no parking space. And my stomach began to go crazy. If I didn't park that car and get that chili soon, I was going to die. So after going around the block twice, waiting for a stoplight, I said, the next spot I see, that's my car in there, I'm getting me some chili. I zoomed into a no parking zone by a bus stop, by a fire plug to get me some chili. Got out of the car, looked at the chili parlor across the street, and wound up walking around in front of my car because something like a goldfish bowl is the only way I can describe it, seemingly came over me. It was like I was encased in some kind of a field. The only way I can explain it to you is I was in a goldfish bowl. All the thoughts and hunger pains for chili left. The chili parlor is here. I walk around on the curb. What do I see when I walk around on the curb? Occult metaphysical bookstore. I'm in a church. I hope those words don't throw you off. Occult only means hidden. Metaphysics means above. Metaphysics is above science. There, all the books that I'd ever wanted to get hold of in my life were available, but the place was so small that under normal directions I would never have found it. Squares in between a tavern and a supermarket. And it's all dark, a little candle burning in the window. I said, oh no, I said, now all I need is for some little old man to come up and say hi. Guess who came to dinner? The little old man, wizened, white-haired, came up. I said, no, guys, you don't have to be so dramatic with this mess. I said, okay, here's a sign on this metaphysical bookstore's door, knock for admittance. Big bold sign outside, knock for admittance. Fine. I took my hand and went to knock. And as my hand approached the door said, ding. Well, I had seen some things about one step beyond and all like that, so immediately I wanted to turn around, go back to my car, get my chili, and do what I had started to do. But of course, you know I didn't. So I went in there, and that's when I was first exposed to what metaphysical books really were. All the books that I'd only heard about before were at my beck and command. And the guy said, welcome, I've been expecting you. I said, yeah, I know, and you know my name? He said, yeah, Del Blair. I said, yeah, this definitely ain't Kansas. So from that point on, my journey was in full force, and I have read probably more metaphysical material than most people are going to see in the next 10 years. I've had to read it voraciously at rates that sometimes I didn't even understand how I was taking all of this stuff in. And as I say, my life was changed, and I have been interfaced for and defended by whatever these presences are, even when I didn't know it, because I found out some things that could have happened that I was just, by doing other things, I averted.
I started to giving, working and giving. I never, and God always supplied my needs. I didn't have to go to none of my people to ask for nothing.
I have. I ain't gonna say they have. I ain't gonna say I can't talk for Paul and Juice and them.
But you have.
I have.
Okay.
And my deal was, I don't know if I should be able to tell you what my deal was. I don't know if I can get in trouble for that shit, Will. But my deal was the type of person I am. The shit that I talk about, I'm able to get away with it just because. I'm not serving him and I'm not giving him my soul, but it's not all about your soul. It's more about getting different people to believe in him instead of believing in the Lord. You get what I'm saying?
Just like I was preaching on your daughter or your
uncle. My Uncle Butch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They told me he believed in God. Well, if you believe, you can make it. If you believe, and you got to believe it from your heart, and mean it and be for real, and God will save you if you ask it.
You were probably maybe 20 years old.
Oh yeah, more than that, I imagine.
Hey,
yeah,
well, the camera.
Yeah, because there's a whole lot that you know, it's just, man, it's just so much that I could tell you, so many things. Like some things I could talk about, but I don't, you know.
Yes, sir.
And it needs telling.
Yes, sir, for sure.
Because the young folks don't know.
Yeah, that's my main goal, man, is
The young people don't know, and it's something that they need to know.
Yeah, my generation, we lost, I'm not gonna lie. And the one under us is even more lost. But man,
they're even more lost if they don't turn
to
the Lord.
Yes, sir. That's my takeaway from this whole sit down.
Mm-hmm.
My whole takeaway is, man, I think I need to be. I know it don't happen overnight, but I think I need to be in somebody's church Sunday.
Yes, sir. You need to be there. You need to be there. And with this, what you're doing right now, it will help a whole lot of folks. Just like you said, I hope you so much tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Just think what you could do to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
You see, this message, this is what we talk. It goes on. It don't just stop here.
Right.
It just keeps on going.
Right.
On and so you can help a lot of folks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I did do you know Nelson Kelly?
No, I don't.
You know, his church over every year. I don't know about this year. I'm getting older and everything. I don't know, but I do Black History Fair.
Okay. I want to go over there.
And this year, I did Black History back. You know, when was it, February?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I did Black History on the last Sunday over there, and I do it every year. And he you know what he tell me?
What's that?
You just come on.
Mm-hmm.
You are Black History.
Right.
And he's right, because I am.
You are. You are. You done seen, man, in 99 years, I'm sure it ain't nothing you ain't seen.
No, man, there's a whole lot, I'll tell you.
Right.
Was there a drug council? Oh, the drug council is a myth. It's the first time I heard of council was when I was in court in 1983.
Guy Fisher, who had a brief affair with Barnes' former girlfriend, Shemeka, was a member of that 7-man drug council, according to Barnes. Fisher is now serving life without parole after Barnes testified against him.
You mean to tell me that you can give someone a life plus sentence because you said he had sex with my girlfriend?
And he's putting people behind bars, helping to make cases for the feds.
There is no justice in terms of that. Ah, man. I mean, 8 years ago, Nick was the scum of the earth in terms of court, being in the courtroom in Judge Worker's court. And then 3 years ago, he became Robin Hood because he was telling. It's really sad, you know. I'm laughing, but it's sad.
Though Barnes says now he began to talk against his former drug associates like Fisher out of a motive of revenge, it soon became apparent that freedom was mostly on his mind. And since Barnes knew he could only be released through a presidential pardon, he understood that the government wanted more from him. So he testified before the President's Commission on Organized Crime, wearing a hood, telling the commission about drug operations in New York. And Barnes began to snitch on his fellow inmates as well. Inside prison, Barnes learned about illegal activities that he described to prison authorities.
I'm a bookmaker, and right now on camera I want to lay you 9 to 5 that Nicky Barnes, Leroy Barnes, gets out of jail.
New York gangster Herbie Sperling spoke with Barnes when they were in prison together in New York. And they worked out a drug deal at Barnes' suggestion that eventually resulted in the conviction of Sperling's son.
I'm doing the same sentence that Nicky Barnes was doing.
Life without parole.
Without parole. I've got it the longest in the country. It's worse than a dead sentence. A dead sentence, you're dead and life goes on. Here you linger and you linger, and sometimes people get depressed. Now, some people get so depressed that they decide to make up a story.
You think he's going to get out?
There's no doubt in my mind. The government has to let him out. This is part of their propaganda ploy. What they're saying is anybody that wants to get out, just make up stories about a lot of people. We got plenty of room. We got a lot of prisons. We'll replace them with you and we'll let you out. No matter what you did, no matter what you do.
I think he should be given credit for his having cooperated with the government to encourage others to come forward and cooperate and bust up these operations. He essentially, what should happen with him, in my view, is at some point he should be permitted to be released from prison at some point.
Do you think that you should get a pardon after all the pain and misery that you caused?
I think that I deserve some type of relief. Because it's customary. I don't see why policy of the Justice Department should change because of Nicky Barnes.
We talked to old pals of his who are now in Lewisburg prison. They said, listen, he's a snitch. He'll be on the street in no time. They really believe that the only reason that he did it was not because he got religion, but because he wants to get on the street and that you're going to help him do just that.
I think that the realistic situation here has to be that when people turn in, organizations like this account for 50 people being convicted. Everyone he's testified against has been convicted and their cases have been upheld on appeal. There has to be some reward for that. That's the only way we can combat this kind of activity.
If they let him out, Barnes says, he would like to teach the young about the dangers of drug addiction. Were he to get out, he would have to remain in the witness protection program, guarded for the rest of his life by the U.S. Marshals.
How do I see the error? Nicky Barnes, Guy Fisher. There is, Nicky Barnes would be the book, and the chapters would consist of nothing but opportunities, destructions, glorious moments, tragedy. I mean, each chapter would be such a dynamic chapter that the book would definitely be a bestseller. To look at Nick's life, but when you open up and you see the chapter on Guy's life, when you go through and you see the rest of the chapters that unfold so many truths and yet still expose so many bones that's buried, so many families that have went from rags to riches, kids that went to school as a result. Some kids made it out, some didn't. Some did well for themselves, some are still in prison. Some went to prison and it changed their life. And so you look across the vast time of the era and you can see the good, you can see the bad. But ultimately, each person will end with a choice they have to make. Do I want to go that route? Which will probably end with no, or if you got any sense. But the last chapter of the book would consist of three major things: the prison, the cemetery, or strung out on drugs. Take your choice.
Well, what I'll say, what I'll be talking about, you got to give it up. You got to repent. You got to come together. You got to come and do as God would have you to do. You've got children against the parents, parents against the children, nations against nations. It's dog eat dog nearly everywhere you go. All your presidents and all our high authorities, Do you know God gives them wisdom, knowledge, and understanding how to lead and take care of this nation? That's what they do. That's what they call for.
Right.
But they going the other way. They taking briberies and everything else, you know, and they destroying folks. Well, see, they got the answer for it.
Right.
It's like that dude over there that killed all them million babies over there.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, he got the answer for it. His payday is coming. So you're going to have to get ready. You might as well get ready for it. His payday is coming. And God has given us all a chance.
Right.
As I said to you a while ago, as it was in the day of Noah, so shall it be in the last day. They'll be running and jumping and everything trying to get there, and I'll tell you what, it's going to be hard. But if they'll start while it's time, and I got a message I'll use maybe when I get a chance to speak somewhere, preparing for war in the time of peace. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm trying to
All right,
follow.
now, listen, let me bring it home to you.
Yes, sir.
If I know I got a fight coming over here, I'm going to prepare and get ready for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get ready to take care of my enemy because I want to take him down, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. If I wait until that enemy comes to start getting ready, I might not can make it. Do you follow me?
Yes, sir.
But if I start now, if I start right now, working on it, by the time when he get ready, well, I'm ready too.
Right. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to prepare while everything is going well. Here's what's wrong with our nation today. Everybody's doing good. God has done blessed them better than blessed. You got homes, you got money, you got automobiles, you got everything, and you're just doing everything you think you ought to do, think you want to do. But God is looking. You see? Well, I don't need that. I got so and so. I got a pocket full of money. I got this and I got that. But God can knock it out, just a twinkle of an eye. He can take it away from you. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Disobedience will cause you to lose out. And God can take it just like he give it. And when he comes again, those that think they got it made, all that they done taken away from everybody else and stole from these other nations and other countries and all, it's going to be given back. They got to give it up. All those riches, like when we come along, we was in slavery and all this here, you got to give it up. We had people that, you know, that you didn't have no home, no place to stay, no this and that. When they broke up the slavery, they got it out, they supposed to give the black folks $40 and a mule or something.
40 acres and a mule. Yes,
40
sir.
acres and a mule. That's what it was. 40 acres and a mule.
Yes, sir.
Some of them didn't even get the mule. But we got a lot of trouble. But God's going to see you. You're going to get it. Just like the Israelite people. God had given them everything. You know, they didn't have to want for nothing. But they didn't have to want for nothing. But they disobeyed God. They refused to believe. They refused to follow the leader. And God took it all away from them. But he's going to give it back.
Wow. God
gives us all a chance. Just like he did Jezebel. Jezebel was one of the biggest. Jezebel was something else. She was a whore.
Right.
But she caused a lot of men to error. And God left a little space. When he got the rest of them, he left a little space in there for Jezebel. You know what that space was for?
What's that?
Repentance.
Right.
To repent. I'm giving you faith to repent. And all you got to do is ask. All you got to do is ask. She didn't repent. So she was lost. But anyway, we can sit up here and talk all.
President of the General Assembly. This is my last statement as president here. the fourth time. In my first speech, I announced that it was very likely that there would be conflicts in Ukraine and Gaza and in Palestine, and that I suggested that there be a peace conference. But those who don't have bombs or large budgets are not heeded here. Well, 4 years later, the horrific situation in Palestine did not lead me to think that almost the same thing could happen in the Colombian Caribbean area, where unarmed young people are being shot at with missiles in the open seas. And now we are in a different situation. Perhaps it's more global, a kind of Stone Age that has descended on all of humankind. Missiles against 17 unarmed young people in the Caribbean Sea, some of them Colombians. The persecution, imprisonment, and expulsion of millions of migrants, missiles that have killed some 70,000 people in Gaza, the lack of action on the climate crisis. All this is linked, and all this has the same cause. Migration is simply an excuse so that a rich society, rich, white, and racist, believes itself to be the superior race and is not realizing that its leaders are leading it to the abyss, to its own distinction, together with the rest of humanity. They said that the missiles in the Caribbean were used to stop drug trafficking. That is a lie. Stated here in this very rostrum. In 2023 and 2024 were years when the largest amount of cocaine was seized, and over 700 drug traffickers were extradited to the United States in Europe. I extradited them. And my government confiscated the cocaine, and we didn't shoot a single missile, nor did we kill any youths. The years where I was able to prove that it's more effective to substitute coca crops than eradicate them, than forced eradication using poison, and forcing peasants to use it. The violent war against drugs was a failure, and I replaced it with an effective anti-trafficking policy, not based on a mix-up between an inert substance, that is drugs, with people who actually use it and practice it. But what was necessary is to destroy dialogue and to shoot missiles. Was it really necessary on unarmed, poor young people in the Caribbean? The anti-drug policy is not meant to stop cocaine that is coming to the United States. The anti-drug policy is to dominate the peoples of the South as a whole. You shouldn't look at the drugs, you should look at who has the power and who dominates. This is why I speak to you as a decertified president. I've been decertified by President Trump, without him having any right to do this, a human right or divine right or any sensible reason. They want to force by violence tens of thousands of peasants to do what the U.S. government wants to do, which are influenced by mafia groups in Colombia. Thousands of peasants are massacred in Colombia by politicians who were senators, who were presidents, who were ministers, that were bribed and on the payroll of the drug mafia. And at the same time, they were allies the extreme right based in Florida, the United States, and now allies of the Trump administration. They've been allied for decades with drug lords, cocaine drug lords in Colombia. They were allies, and so they led this anti-drug policy from Washington. I don't know if Trump even knows that his foreign policy towards Colombia, Venezuela, and towards the Caribbean is based on advice from Colombians who are allies of the cocaine mafia. I myself denounced these politicians, including the paramilitaries, drug traffickers, naming them by their names in the Congress of Colombia when I was senator, and many times they wanted to kill me because of that. And they did not want me to become president. They wanted me to shut up. And now they don't want another progressive government to be reelected. That is why I've been personally decertified, and they have spread calumny against Colombia. Colombia has confiscated the highest amount of cocaine in the history of the country under my government, and I've been decertified. In Colombia, we have managed to stop the increase in the rate of expansion of coca crops that was 43% under the government of Duque and has dropped to 3%. And Duque was not decertified. He was who had someone who financed his campaign who was a drug trafficker, and instead they've decertified me. So the anti-drug policy is not aimed at the public health of a society, but rather to prop up a policy of domination. They don't want to give the power to the people. The young people that were killed using missiles in the Caribbean were not from Hamas. They were not from other terrorist groups. They were poor Colombians. And with apologies to those who dominate the United Nations, there should be criminal cases against those officials of the United States for doing this, including the utmost official, President Trump, that allowed the shooting of missiles against these young people who were simply trying to escape poverty. Youths who in a speedboat who might have had a certain amount of drugs were not drug traffickers. They were simply poor youth. But the real drug traffickers live somewhere else, not in America, not in Latin America. So it's easy to shoot missiles against the speedboats with migrants and accusing them of terrorism and drug trafficking when they don't have a single weapon to defend themselves. When the real drug traffickers live in New York, here, just a few blocks from here, in Miami. And they reach agreements with the DEA, and they're allowed to traffic in Africa, in Russia, in China, but not in the United States, a country that has not managed to reduce its consumption of cocaine because it's drug addicts, or rather, they did manage to reduce the consumption of cocaine simply because their addicts switched to another type of drug, fentanyl, which is much deadlier. This fentanyl is produced in the industrial heartland of the United States, here, not far from here. And the consumers are here as well. It's produced and consumed in the United States. That is the worst. They're addicted to fentanyl and to gasoline. the two main poisons of life in the world. And gasoline is even worse than fentanyl. Only the black-skinned people here, those who are ancestral here, that were thousands of years have been here, or young people, or women who don't want to see their children die of any color of their skin. People are still hooked on fentanyl or hooked on television. Only they can stop this domination by the United States.
But when she left, she had 2. When she come back, she had 5.
Right.
Huh?
Right.
That's more mouths for me to feed.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right.
So, I'm gonna have to help them.
Mm-hmm.
So that you got to get out there and get it. And that's what I done. But they say, oh, they grown. Yeah, they grown, but they hit a rock in a hard place. And that many times people do that. And you go and help them, and you help them, and you help them, and they'll show you your backside of their tail every time. But the Lord said, don't fight back with them. Just leave alone. That's the reason why I can say I thank God, because I prosper. My own kids. Some of them, you raise them, you hope them, you raise them, you clothe them, you fed them, you wipe their tails and all this stuff. And some of them even turn their back on you. But you know what? As Lord, you help them.
Right.
Because see, if I want to help them, I want to get me something to go to work on it. You think about what you done went through and what all this here, you think about getting you a club and go to work on that backside.
Right.
But he said, pray for them.
Right. Right.
Pray that the Lord will see what you're seeing, that they will see the light and come to themselves and repent. And when you do that, that stars in your crown.
Right.
So because you hope them by you did better by going on and just let them alone. Don't fight with them. Don't let them alone. God will take care of them. And when they hit a rock in a hard place, they're gonna think about that. Well, Uncle so and so did something to save me, and they all look at it. God will bring it home to you.
Mm-hmm.
He'll let you know about it. He'll make you remember things you done forgot about years ago.
Man. No, you right, Pastor. I can't keep you all day, man, so this is gonna be my last question. Right now, where black people are today,
everybody looked at the Italian era, everybody looked at the Bumpy John, looked at that era and thought that was the era. But when Nick organized this, man, people had began to take on a sense of pride that they might as well wear a 3-piece suit, a Brook Brothers suit and some gator shoes and come out, because it was real now.
These kids today, you know, they might see 100,000 in a year. Back then, they were seeing 400,000 in an hour. Back then, we shared the wealth.
You had never seen this kind of money coming into Harlem. We're talking about $50,000, $60,000 a day in one block. And we're talking in a small block. $50,000, $60,000 easy, $100,000 made, one block.
They were driving Rolls Royces, changing cars like people were changing shoes. They were going on trips. They were going to Switzerland, Italy.
After a basketball game, they'll just say, yo, man, everybody get in the car, man. You know what I'm saying? Everybody get in the cars, man. Get as many as you can in each car, man. We going to Puerto Rico, man, and just drive right out. Just drive, just get in the car and just drive out to the airport, and there's planes waiting.
Each individual's interest was the interest of everyone else.
When a guy said, man, one day I would love to drive a Mercedes-Benz, and got in contact with Nick, in 2 weeks it could happen. Just a simple Nick saying, yo, take that.
But in 1977, Barnes, who had been arrested 13 times on various charges but never convicted, was indicted once again.
The dynasty had switched, and the move was made. God was the man.
People give you props out of fear, people give you props out of respect. He got his out of respect.
He went from selling jeans out of a van in 18 Park, man, to listen on top of the world.
The guy bought the Apollo Theater.
He saw his dream come true, where he
took over the Apollo Theater, fixed it up, and he wanted to open it with me, and we opened it, and here was the success.
How many niggas buy the Apollo Theater, man? Let's be for real, man. I mean, we talk about a monument. We talk about a landmark. We talk about, man, the Apollo Theater, man. We talk about, my mama was going to the Apollo Theater when it was 75 cents, man. My mama's 65. You feel what I'm saying to you?
The Apollo was the biggest thing for Afro-American people that was going on.
These niggas is getting illegitimate. These niggas getting no legitimate money. They're getting drug money, man. These niggas buying the Apollo. That was like buying the fucking Empire State Building. You hear me?
People came from everywhere, not just for the night, the entertainment of Stevie Wonder, not just the fact that Teddy P was gonna be there. No, not just because of that, but the fact is they might happen to get a chance to get a picture with this kid named Guy Fisher.
People like John Belushi, Paul Simon, and I mean, you had limousines from 8th Avenue to 7th Avenue.
Niggas had minks, chinchillas, all types of furs, all types of girls was coming out there. Cars was triple parked.
125th Street, I hadn't seen that in a long time.
I think Guy's biggest mistake was buying the Apollo. I mean, personally,
everything was fine with the Apollo Theater until NBC, National Broadcasting Company, wanted to televise Amateur Night again from the Apollo Theater on a Saturday night. And they gave them this big contract, whatever it was in terms of money and for how many amount of years. And you know, when corporations start getting into doing that, they look a little deeper at what's involved, who's involved. And somebody picked up the name Guy Fisher and said, well, this is the same guy that's supposed to be hooked up with Nicky Barnes and this whole drug thing. And I think from that point on, people got suspicious, and I think they canceled the deal.
they was gonna never let him succeed. I mean, because once a black man really get on top, even if the Apollo did had been successful, I mean, it was gonna be something. It was gonna be an investigation or who owned the Apollo, and then everything was gonna hit the fan anyways.
It was his era now. Sure, he wasn't the Bronx, Queens, Harlem. He had went beyond Harlem. It wasn't guy from Harlem, guy from 18th, guy from the Bronx. It was beyond that now.
Seen Guy have meetings, man. You understand? And all his crew got on ice and minks and two-tone Benzes, and Guy wearing Chuck Taylors, man. You know what I'm saying? Guy wearing Converse, Chuck Taylors to meetings. Guy the biggest nigga at the meeting, all right? And Guy got on a pendant that might cost $10,000, $15,000.
Guy had become the guy that everybody wanted to know. All the chicks wanted to know. Everybody that was somebody wanted to know. If you knew how to play ball, you wanted to go wait 5 or 6 hours to play ball just so maybe you could play against this kid.
Seeing Guy Fisher and Nate Tiny Archibald talking. So I looked at them and, I wanted to be like Tiny as far as, the kind of person he was playing NBA, going to college, that was me. And I wanted to be like Guy Fisher because Guy Fisher was just Guy Fisher. I have mad respect for him. When he came around, everybody just looked at him like he was a movie star. They put him on a pedestal. He was very special to everybody around here, especially to me. And I looked at it, I said, which way should I wanted to go, And I looked at Guy Fisher and I looked at Nick, at Tiny Archibald. And I don't know what it was, but I wanted to be like Guy Fisher.
What was crazy about those games was the bets. The sideline bets. It was incredible. I'm talking about guys betting 10,000.
Nate Tiny Archibald kept whispering to Guy in terms of, like how to make subs or maybe give him some advice on how the game should go. So my remark was, listen, Tiny, if you feel that way about it, you can suit up and play, but I don't care what you do, you ain't gonna win this game. So in Guy's remark was, if you feel that way about it, let's bet $20,000. I said, you ain't setting nothing bet.
Whatever the bet was, man, it was nothing that he could not cover. You know what I'm saying? If he ain't have it in his pocket right then, he'd go in the trunk of his car, pull that money out. Regardless of what it was, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. If that's the bet right there, he gonna fade it.
Not just on the game. A guy bet 10,000 on the game. Bet 10, they win. Now, in the middle of the game, bet 5,000, he make this shot.
When Guy lost that game against me, he was a little upset. He lost $20,000, not only the game. And he was upset because he felt that he was supposed to have won. And he went out his way to recruit some ball players, with big names and big games. But we still came out the victor, so he was pretty upset about it for a little while.
He was speeding on the highway, on the West Side Highway one night, about 2 in the morning. And when I read the paper the next morning, they were saying that Mr. Guy Fisher caught with $1 million in the trunk.
I mean, niggas can say they have seen $100,000 in cash.
Could have been $1 million, could have been 100,000, could have been whatever. Whatever numbers that they put in the post, you could believe whatever it is, he had it.
Guy Fisher will go on to solidify his mark as one of the most revered black gangsters in the history of the United States. Unfortunately, his luck would come to an end. 2 years after being sentenced to life imprisonment, Nicky Barnes would go on to testify against Guy Fisher and a number of other people.
Guy wouldn't have got tripped up, man, if a nigga wouldn't have told on Guy.
I never did like Nicky because she bumped me. One man put Nicky Barnes down. I never did like the Barnes. He was a ex-dope friend. He did everything wrong, and then he got a chance to make money. Remember, it's not a motherfucker that's born to hustle, but if you got what the people out here want and you got the best, you can make some money.
Guy Fisher was on 60 Minutes. Everybody wants to see just exactly how he felt in terms of what Leroy Nicky Barnes had done in terms of testifying against him.
I didn't know about Guy and his relationship with Nicky or how they came to meet until I saw the 60 Minute piece.
I wondered why that your
my uncle.
What's her name, Angie?
Yeah, my Aunt Angie.
Why she want to choose me old as I am? Because I guess thought I knew a whole lot more about the family, maybe. I don't know. But it wasn't no, it just, it's amazing how God works and how he works through people. And it wasn't no accident that you got in touch with me for this here.
Yeah.
It's something that God wants you to see and he wants you to know.
Yeah. Nah, man, it's so much. I'm
thankful.
Yeah.
Because look, I could tell you a whole lot. We ain't got time. I can't tell it all.
Right, for sure.
But I went through some things. It's been a hard. Well, I'll say it's a tight fight with a short stick. I went through it. I raised 8 kids.
Right.
But that's not that's just the starting of it. I got a whole lot of grandkids. You know how many kids I raised in this house? Let me see here.
Brands are stealing from the cheap motherfuckers because they watching the people that can't afford the shit dress up in the cheap shit fly. They say, oh, hell no.
Gonna get that.
Huh?
They make a lot of money off of that fake shit.
Off that fake shit.
So then, with that being said,
Motherfucking jacket's $5,000, and if you cut the tag off of it, it just look like it's just a regular jacket.
Can't even tell.
You can't tell.
You can't tell nothing. So when you see influencers or new comedians utilizing social media to gain fame fairly quickly and go into...
I ain't mad at them. I love it. You know, because just like the NBA, man, them dudes wasn't making that money back then that they making right now. Them contracts these dudes is getting is crazy. And just imagine them dudes that was really playing harder back then wasn't even making a quarter of that money. But they still can't be mad at them because it's the new generation. The only problem with that is, and I tell all the young comics that's making money, set aside some time. And New York is a great boot camp for comedians. I tell every time a comedian say, man, I said, take your ass to New York. And they said, New York, but they scared of this motherfucker because it's intimidating, because it's a melting pot. And if you don't know nobody, you on your motherfucking own, and you can't trick nobody here.
At all.
So this ain't no Instagram shit. I tell them, move your ass to New York and go hit them clubs and run around there every night. Cause New York, they gonna let you, they gonna tell you, they gonna let you know if you coming with the real shit. Yeah. Any other city you could trick them, but you come to New York, you gonna be sitting there and you gonna hear motherfuckers say, womp womp. And then you gonna keep talking, you gonna hear motherfuckers say, boo. And then next thing you know, get the fuck out of here. Who said that? What? That's the order of it right there. Start trickling in. Next thing you know, the whole place booing your ass out of here.
Have you ever got booed before?
One time.
Out of all the years that I've been doing it, I went up in New Jersey. I went up in Rochester. I came out and said, everybody give it up for me. They was all clapping. I said, for my dick. They all do like this. Boo! Fuck you, nigga. Get your bitch ass off the stage. Yes, they did. And the first time I did it, I got booed. I was on the radio. And
repent means to go back and ask God to forgive you.
Okay.
For your wrongdoing, whatever it is or whatever it was. That don't make no difference if it's adultery, robbery, whatever it is. You can get repentant if you go and ask God. Because in the book of John, it says, if you confess your sins, I'm faithful and just to forgive you your sins and to cleanse you from all unrighteousness. It didn't say some of it now, it said all.
Right.
All unrighteousness. So that's what you got to do, and it ain't no hard job. It's hard for somebody because they don't want to do it. They want to live like they want to live. But if you truly want God and want to, you go and ask for forgiveness. And you know what else it said? If any man will come to him, he'll in no wise cast him out. Ain't that what it said, Kay?
Yes.
And you sleep?
No, I'm here.
Okay. That's what you help me if I get wrong now.
Yeah.
But he said, if any man, that means anybody, you, me, you, Dago, or whoever. Well, it said over in Luke, it makes no difference between the Jew and the Greek. The same God is rich unto all that call upon his name. So that means that you can call him, you ask him, and you got it. You ask him. And just one thing you do, just be for real and you ask him. Be for real. Have your mind made up what you're going to do. I'm going to serve him, or I'm going to half serve him and get punished.
Right.
You understand what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, for sure, man. Like, it's.
I got with Bumpy Johnson in the 40s. You understand? When he came out of prison, we went to Dannemora. We did 10 years flat. 48 when I first met him. I got busted in 48. Then I went away. When I came back home, I did 7. At that time, he had got another bus. So while he was away, his wife had me, I come up and I took over the business and run it for him. Now, behind all this, drugs started coming in from the east side. You understand? But at that time, he wasn't there. He was away. Now, I get busted to go to Fed. When we went up there in the Fed, they just closed Alcatraz. I was in Atlanta. We went from Atlanta back to Lewisburg. Then we came out together, 1965. Drugs become prominent there. We started off having good drugs, you know? So now, here's the main thing you gotta remember about drugs. We control the drugs. Like the kids nowadays don't do it.
Who controlled these drugs?
At the time?
Yes.
The beginners them had it, but we control it in this form. Anything that's done in your neighborhood must be controlled by you. In other words, no one could sell nothing in our neighborhood unless we give it to him. So unless he bought it from us. See, and you just don't come in and start selling those drugs or just selling those people. Not in our neighborhood that we don't create, because at one time we couldn't come on this hill because the Irish Duke and the Hancocks, the Irish boy, we had to fight to come from Bradhurst Avenue up to St. Nicholas. You had to fight.
So all of this was about the same time as Lucky Luciano.
Well, that was Lucky was faded out because Lucky and Bumpy was in Dannemora at the time. You know, before that, you know, huh? And Dannemora and him became very good friends, and Lucky loved him. You see, Lucky thought the world of him, and that was his man. So when Bumpy told him, because at the time he was a young boy though, you understand? Bumpy told him, hey, y'all got all this shit in Harlem? Well, this is Harlem. This is black person. This is our stomping ground. We get a piece of this, a piece of that, and nothing gonna happen. But the only one that didn't want to go along with that was, what's this old fucking crazy ass motherfucking name is Guinea? He was the one that they wound up killing, you know, Duck Short. See, Duck Short wants to shake down everybody. They told him, no, man, them guys right. This is their neighborhood. They're supposed to get something out of it. So behind that, a black woman that had the numbers at the time, remember, number started as a bolita. Number was never those three figures. Number was bolita, and the bolita was a lady called Madam Queen. She brought this here from Cuba. That's when the number came to Harlem. Then Bumper them incorporated to three figures. See, that's where number. Now it's such a penny ante game, but it was so much in it because you know when people are poor, they got to do something for some money.
I want you to do it.
Now kids sit at the table while their parents having serious discussions.
Yeah. Children have they have no respect anymore for the Lord's table or for the parents either.
Right.
It's many times I've watched some people that come, we go out somewhere to eat, and then they get to lunch and they start eating, they never take time to say thank you or give God the glory for the food that they're eating. They just start eating. We always, we better do this here. If we take a bite, you better get rid of it, because you're gonna say that blessing, don't you? Gonna get, you won't eat or else you'll get knocked down from that table.
Right.
So
okay.
you're gonna give God the credit and give Him the glory for the food.
Okay.
But they don't even do that anymore. They've stopped that in a lot of places. Now, some do, some don't.
Right.
But a lot of it they've stopped, and a lot of it they just don't have. And even we had prayer. We go to school. At prayer in the morning, the Lord's Prayer, you're going to say that Lord's Prayer, you get that. But they finally stopped that too. They finally stopped you from saying prayer in school.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't teach it at home and you don't get it at home, you get it. It's still you're gonna get it out there because they don't do it anymore.
Right. Now.
Thank you. Wonderful. Alberta, let's step back down to the office area here.
Okay.
That was simply splendid and did my heart good. It's a favorite old song.
Yes, oh baby.
Anybody know how far back Good Man Is Hard to Find goes?
No. Nobody in here is old enough to know.
Is it as true then as was it as true then as it is today about finding a good man?
I guess it'll continue to be true. Men won't behave. They won't behave. You got to bop them.
You know, what I noticed is that you don't have a drummer.
No.
That's unusual, isn't it?
I don't need a drummer with this crazy man back here.
Hmm? The bass, why does everybody have a drummer? I never thought of it.
You know, I tell you one thing, reason, all due respect to drummers, but I don't want a drummer because I'm liable, I don't know what I'm going to say next.
Uh-huh.
And the drummer's liable to be playing and patting away and, you know, and he'll come in on some of my punches or my tricks, you know.
Well, which crazy man did you mean?
This bass player, he's crazy.
Oh, he is?
Yeah. My piano player, he's a knockout.
When you sang Downhearted Blues last night, or whenever it was,
yeah.
It was, that was a song that was made a hit by Bessie Smith, and you talked about how she,
Yeah.
Isn't that the one that she, so how many
That was
records?
her first recording for Columbia.
Now why, if it's your song, didn't you do?
I did it. I sang it
Ah.
for Paramount, you know, and many records were sold, but nothing like Bessie's.
Yeah.
Bessie's record sold 850,000 within 3 months.
Is there any way to put into words what it was about Bessie Smith, what she had?
She had a bigger voice and a better voice than any woman that I know. You could hear Bessie Smith from here to 135th Street. No such thing as a microphone. We didn't have. You know, we have to sing to and make a record, sing to big old thick wax about like that.
Yeah.
And the needle would go around on the wax. See, that was a hole. And that would be, the engineer would be on that side. There's this hole, you see. And you'd sing through a big horn here. Well, then that wax, the needle would go around on this wax, and the shavings from this wax, you know, would go on the floor. But we didn't have microphones, just that big horn.
That was the old recording method. Do you still have old records of that kind?
Yes, I've got most of, I've got the first record I made.
Do you?
Yeah, I made it for a company, Handy, or Pace and Handy. You know W.C. Handy?
W.C. Handy,
Well, they
sure.
had a little record company called the Black Swan. And I was supposed to go to New York, you know, and record for Paramount. So I sneaked and did a record for, I've been sneaking all the time. I sneaked and did a record for the Black Swan.
Yeah.
That was the first record I made. That was W.C. Handy and Harry Pace, who was a real estate man.
Do you still have kin down in Memphis?
No, you see, when I left home, there's nobody there but my mother.
Mm-hmm.
When I ran away from home, I left my mother down there.
But
But as soon as I made, you know, at 1750 I was making?
Yeah.
As soon as I saved up enough, I brought my mother to Chicago. And you know, she turned around over my poor little hard money and went right back to Memphis. She didn't like Chicago.
Too big for her? Didn't?
She didn't like it. She
Yeah.
just didn't like Chicago.
She'd always lived in a small town, I suppose.
Well, Memphis is very progressive, you know. Memphis is all right.
Oh, you were right in Memphis. You weren't out on a little outside.
Oh, no,
Memphis.
we
You
lived
were
right in Memphis
town.
proper,
Yeah.
right on Beale Street.
Uh-huh.
Well, we lived 170 Beale Street, right across from the old Beale Street Church. That's where we lived in later years. But the first time I was born on High Street in Memphis, up in North Memphis.
When you were talking about Sophie Tucker wanting really to appropriate a number of yours, and
Yeah.
you were reluctant to give it to her, was there a lot of just plain stealing from white acts, stealing black acts material and figuring there's nothing they can do about it?
Well, I hope you don't think I'm rude,
No,
but all the stealing was done. They used to steal our lives.
really.
They stole everything we could write. Stormy Weather was written by a colored man. So many songs were written by colored people, but we had no out. We didn't know what to do to go about to protect our material at that time, you see.
Stormy Weather was
Yes,
a
it was
theft.
written by a fellow named Lukey Johnson. That's right. So many of our songs. And then a lot of times, you see, we had hard times, and if a fellow would write a song, it was a good song, he'd play it over and the publishers would hear it. Well, they didn't ask him any questions, they'd just take it. Or maybe they'd give him $5 or $10, they didn't know, they were broke, they needed the money. A lot of the very good songs were written by colored people.
Mm-hmm. What changed all that?
Well, the copyright came out. You
That-
see,
yeah.
copyright. You could, you have your song. That's the reason I don't hum my material till it's in Washington. You'd be surprised at the song thieves. They'll mug you for a song in a minute. I don't even hum my material to anybody till I don't know music. I don't know one note from the other. So, but I get one note, I hear one note to myself, then I hum another one, and I get 2 or 3, and they sound pretty good. So then I'll hum them to Gerald, and he puts them down in music, and, on paper, and send them to Washington.
So if I showed you A Good Man Is Hard to Find written out, all you could tell looking at it is where it goes up and down, but you wouldn't.
I wouldn't know where it went up and down.
Oh, you wouldn't know if I had it upside down or something?
Oh, well, yeah, if you had the paper upside down, but I don't know the notes.
Yeah.
I don't know one note from the other.
It certainly hasn't held you back.
No, well,
Just
thank
think
God.
where you could go.
Yeah. But you know one thing? Maybe if I knew music, I couldn't do what I'm doing.
It might inhibit you a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You'd suddenly think, did I get all 4 of
That's
those in?
right.
And
Did
was
I
that a
get,
quarter
did I
note or
get A right, a G right, a B right?
Uh-huh.
No, if you don't know it, it's better.
Did you,
You know?
Alberta, did you know Bessie Smith personally?
I didn't know her, no. The only time I ever saw Bessie Smith was in Philadelphia, a little old theater called the Standard Theater. And she was coming out of the theater. She was either coming out or going in, and vice versa. And that's the only time I saw her in the theater, you know. But I never said good morning or good evening to her, because she was kind of rough, you know. She'd try you one.
She'd try you one?
Yeah.
Tell me what that means.
Mean,
I knew, but I forgot.
She was kind of mean.
Oh, mean?
Yeah, she was mean. She didn't want you to look halfway decent, you know.
No kidding.
No. But
And-
she could sing. I'm not trying to take anything from her.
Yeah.
She could sing a while.
Were you friendly with Louis Armstrong?
Sure. You know, I was working at a nightclub called the Dreamland in Chicago. And this man, Bill Bottoms, who later became Joe Lewis's dietitian, he heard about a young man in New Orleans that could play trumpet. So he either went south and got Louis, or he sent someone down there and got Louis and brought Louis up. Louis came in to play second trumpet to Joe Oliver. I was singing at the Dreamland. Joe Oliver's band was there. King Oliver, they call him.
King
You
Oliver.
children know, you're too young. And they brought Louis up to work with Joe Oliver.
You know, yeah, I read something that Dizzy Gillespie said. He has a book out, and he said that Louis Armstrong was born in poverty, raised in drudgery and ignorance, and luckily for us, he was a genius.
He was a genius.
Yeah.
He was born, you know, and put in one of those homes, you know. He was an orphan. He put in one of those homes. But he was a fine, till he breathed his last breath, he was a little gentleman. He was a fine young man. Do you know the girl that he married, Lil Armstrong? Her name wasn't Armstrong. Her name was Lil Harding.
Lil Harding.
Lil Harding. The girl played piano in Joe Oliver's band. Well, she later married Louis, you know. Yeah. Lil Harding.
I was at his funeral. It was one of the most moving things.
You know one thing? Do you know? Did you see when she collapsed at the piano? That was his first wife.
No, I didn't.
Lil Armstrong. When she was there, she went to his funeral, and she collapsed and died right there. You didn't see that lady?
I did not know that.
Yeah.
That happened at Louis Armstrong's funeral?
Yeah.
Well, I was probably looking somewhere. I was sitting next to Dizzy Gillespie.
Right at his funeral.
And I guess people did not realize it at the time.
Because they naturally cut it off right quick.
Yeah.
But she died right there at his funeral. Did you ever hear Freddie Keppard?
No.
He was one of the greatest trumpet players ever lived. He had a way of playing. He would put the derby like over his bell of his horn, and he'd play it softly because he said people would try to steal his way he played. So he wouldn't play loud, like I was singing when I was swiping that money, you know. But he would play very soft, but he didn't get the credit that he deserved. He was a marvelous trumpet player.
Are there a lot of cases of that, of people you came up with and knew and worked with who really deserved a great career and never got it?
Absolutely, but they didn't get it. You know one thing? Sometimes people say it's you have talent, but a lot of time it's luck.
Sure.
A lot of people deserve what they don't get. And they don't know how to reach out for it. You have to get out. I'm telling you, children, anytime you have an aim in life, set your goal and go for it. Don't let anybody tell you you can't make it. You can make it. Go on.
Don't go now.
Anytime you have something in your mind, don't let anybody change your mind and tell you, oh, you can't do this. A lot of people tell you that out of jealousy. So you use your own judgment. If you say, well, I'm going to do so and so, do it. I ran away with 15 cents, a nickel and a dime. What did I have? Got off the streetcar and left my school. My school teacher had this pass, you know. I got off the streetcar and left on the streetcar. Where was I going? God's hand, honey. Put your faith in God and confidence in yourself.
I gather what?
That's right.
Those are your principles, guiding principles.
Yeah.
Alberta, I read that you used to go to church a lot, but that you've gotten a little tired of that.
Well, I love church, but I stopped going because when I was a little tiny kid, my grandmother took me early in the morning and kept me there late at night till the church closed. I'd have to go at the opening and the closing. And I said when I got grown, I would not go to church until I got good and ready. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe in God. I believe in doing unto others as I wish to be done by. And if I'm ever able to do a favor for someone, I'm glad to do it. But I cannot sit up in church all day like my grandmother had me doing.
You probably got enough there to last you for a long time.
Oh,
anyways.
it lasts me till I die.
Probably haven't used it all up yet.
That church my grandmother gave me, I was reared in church till the last minute. And until they put that sand and dirt in my face, I will not sit in church all day, ladies and gentlemen.
That's quite all right. Don't you suppose the music in church influenced you a lot, though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Where was it you played where, was it in Korea when you were with the USO?
Yeah.
And at the end of your song, you could hear applause coming from up in the hills?
Up in North Korea. Yeah.
Now, that's some voice.
Yeah. Instead of the North Koreans up there, you know, to run us away, because we in part of South Korea, too, you know. They were up there just having a ball, just applauding and going on. They didn't bother us.
You could hear the enemy grooving up in
Yes. Yeah, they had
What
a
a
ball.
strange experience
Yeah.
that is.
Wonderful experience. I was the only woman with 52 days on the front line.
You sang for General Eisenhower
Yeah.
at one point. you know.
Well, I was in Nancy, France, and had my troop there.
Yeah.
And he had told us, had this special serviceman to have us meet him in Frankfurt.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to Frankfurt to his headquarters. And it was a Russian woman, you know, she's trying to be so big, you know. She didn't want to, everybody else was doing this and she was, but under the table, she didn't know we could see under the table. She's just patting her foot.
Her foot was going?
Yeah.
She was controlled from the ankle up.
Yeah. She didn't want anybody to know she was, you know, enjoying what another woman could do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, she was just...
She was a Russian official?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she was one
Yeah.
of the Russian.
Yeah. If you had only 5, maybe let's say 3 records that you could save out of a fire or to take to a desert island with you, are there records or albums that you listen to over and over, favorites of yours, of other artists?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me see. Now, I'd listen to Paul Robeson.
Yeah. You worked with him.
Yeah, I'd listen to Paul. And Tony, what's his name? What's Tony's name, Gerald?
Tony Bennett?
Tony Bennett. Yes, I would listen to his records.
Be glad to hear that.
Oh, I'm crazy about Tony. When we went to the White House, you know, at the Kennedy Center, he was at the Kennedy Center.
Yeah,
And
so-
I like his music.
Sinatra called Bennett the best singer.
Oh, Tony Bennett's a knockout.